Harrison's been able to do the last 3 games with his game-winning three-pointers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man, he's a clutch player, as you can tell. 3 games, and he's willing to take that shot. And like I always said, the biggest thing about that is if you're willing to take it. You know, a lot of guys shy away from the moment, and he's not one of those guys. And hopefully it doesn't come down to a shot. And if it does, we're going to make sure we move him away from that left side where he's been knocking down the shot consistently. So, you know, he's like I said, he got that clutch gene that guys that everyone's been talking about, and he's not scared to miss the shot, because you know, that's the chance you take. You take that shot, there's a chance you miss it, and but he's the guy that's going to be willing to be the hero, and that's just a lot of respect.
On the right side in the front, Vin.
Vin Parisi, SNY. Coach, defensively, in terms of defending Kentucky, what are you looking to key in on?
Well, first of all, we want to get back in transition. That's our #1 key every game, especially them. They got a lot of great athletes. They use their quickness, they use their speed, they use their jumping ability to get inside the paint. So we want to locate, want to get back, want to keep them in front of us, and then play solid defense. We want to limit the penetration and make them shoot over the top.
Next question's on the left side of the aisle.
Tim Sullivan, Louisville Courier-Journal. For Kevin, Louisville defeated your team 3 times by a total of 55 points. How much is that matchups, and how much is your being here improvement?
Things happen throughout the season. You know, they got great players. Coach Pitino is a great coach. But, you know, Florida beat Kentucky 3 times. So, I mean, it's all about going out there playing. Each and every day, each and every game is something different, and you got to be able to step up to the challenge. And I tell these guys all the time, you don't play the game, let the game play you. And I thought we did that last night when they came out 16-4. We didn't get down. We kept, you know, allowing our defense to take over and our unselfishness to take over and our togetherness to take over. So I thought we built last night, but I thought we built on a lot of ups and downs throughout the season, and that's what great teams do. They take the challenge and they get better from it. So, you know, we want to go out there and we want to win one more game, and that's our only goal.
Questions for our student athletes and Coach Ollie on the right side of the aisle.
Drew Davison with the Forest Star Telegram. This is for DeAndre and Phillip. Kind of what are your guys' impressions of Julius Randle, and what do you think the key to containing him is?
Phillip, can you take that first?
I mean, he's a pretty strong guy. Basically, everything Coach said in the beginning, just try to keep him off the glass.
DeAndre.
We're not focused on one player. We're focused on Kentucky as a whole. But just when the biggest get it in, just everybody communicating, helping one another, and just always have other bigs back no matter what happens, and box them out and rebound.
The next question's on the right side for Adam.
Yeah, for Shabazz and Ryan, Adam Zagoria, SMY. I think this Kentucky team has like 7 McDonald's All-Americans and 7 future pros. When you hear stuff like that, what goes through your mind, and does that give you any kind of added edge or motivation in this game?
Ryan first, then Shabazz.
Yeah, you know, they All-Americans and they supposed to be future pros. You know, we don't really look into that. It's another game. We're going to go out there and we're going to execute our defensive schemes and play together as you can play UConn basketball. You know, we're not taking it as an extra challenge or nothing like that. You know, they got to lace their shoes up just like we got to.
Shabazz.
Yeah, just like Ryan said, you know, we all play the game of basketball to compete against the best, and this is one of them games. You know, it's at the end of the day, like Ryan just said, you know, they're going to throw the ball up in the air. They don't do nothing different. You know, we put on our jerseys the same way. You know, they worked hard to get to this point, and we did too. And, you know, we're going to do our best to try to get this W.
On the left side in the front, Zach.
Zach Braziller, New York Post. Kevin, what have you seen from DeAndre in the tournament? You know, he went from being kind of from an up and down season to being one of the best players in the country in this tournament. You know, 2 double-doubles. Obviously, yesterday was phenomenal. Is there anything you noticed different about him?
No, we just want DeAndre to play. We always talk about DeAndre with touches. It's not about points, it's touches, it's activity, it's effort. We consider touch an offensive rebound, defensive rebound, 50-50 ball blocks, and when he's active, he scores. If you look back through all the stats in our season, if he averaged 8 rebounds, he averaged 19 points. So, I mean, that tells you when he's active and he's paying attention to details, he's going after the ball. We call it collective ball hunters. When he's a ball hunter, he scores because he's that talented. His ceiling, none of our players got roofs on them. All right, no limits on our players. We just gonna go play hard and we're gonna play together. There's no limits in our locker room. There's no limits with our student athletes. They don't have no limits. I'll be doing them a disservice. I put limits on them.
To the right side, Roger.
Roger Rubin from the New York Daily News. This is a question for all 5 of the players. It's a short answer question. Beginning with the big guys. Going down the line, in one sentence, why do you believe in your heart that Connecticut will win the championship?
We'll start with Philip and we'll move back down towards Shabazz.
I mean, we work hard. I just feel like all the trials and tribulations that we've been throughout last season and this season just has prepared us for this moment.
I'm just going to say heart.
That's it. All right. I think we put so much work into it, and didn't start this season. I think it started last season, and just this whole collective group has been through so many down periods that I think we really worked hard for this.
Yeah, I mean, they saying everything. They just wrap that all in one. We've been through so much together last year and this year. We work extremely hard. The UConn preseason is probably the worst preseason ever. And, you know, we got a lot of heart and a lot of will, and Coach always told us that this was a special team. And he's been saying it all year. He said it all last year. It's a special team, and we really believe that.
And like they said, I mean, I just got all the confidence in my guys, and we believe in everything we do.
Next question's on the aisle to the right side.
Daniel Sardina, Fox Sports. Shabazz, Coach called you basically an unpaid coach at one point, just talking about how much of a leader you are on the court. I was wondering if you could talk about your growth as a player under him and the kind of relationship you guys have had.
Yeah, you know, I came in with Coach. You know, when he was the assistant coach, he was a guy that I was always, you know, beside, and we worked out a lot. He did a lot of things for me. You know, when Coach Calhoun was a guy that yelled at you, Coach Ollie was a guy that pat you on your back and, you know, kept you moving forward. And the 4 years we've been together has been tremendous, man. He's been where we all want to be. Point guard in the NBA, who's been through a lot, and a guy like that who never, you know, pointed fingers at anybody but himself through all his trials and tribulations and everything he's been through. You can learn from that, and we all believed in each other, and no matter what's going on, whether I'm laughing and joking with him, or you know, when I was a sophomore and I was crying in his arms because I was upset the way I was playing, he was always there for me. And you know, I never had a father in my life, and like I always said, you know, I felt like he was always a father figure to me, and that's what I wanted. And he believed everything I did was with a lot of passion. It may not have been the right thing at the right time, but he understood that I gave everything I got. And you know, when you have somebody like that in your corner, you know, you should always cherish that. And you know, me and him has just been growing ever since.
On the right side of the center aisle.
Yeah, Barry Horn, Dallas Morning News for the seniors. Can you tell me some of the similarities and differences between this season and the last championship season?
Shabazz first.
I mean, you know, we had Kemba Walker, the biggest difference. You know, we had that team was definitely a unique team, and this is a totally different team. We got a different coach, different players, you know, different managers going down the line. So I mean, it's a totally different team. At the end of the day, I always say we want to do what that team did. But at the end of the day, we want to go on our own path. And so far, so good. We just got to get one more 40-minute game.
Same question to Neil.
I think one of the similarities you can see is we have a great backcourt. And otherwise, I would say this is a very different team. You got more seniors, more juniors on this team than we had our freshman year. So I think we have our own identity in that way.
Is there a follow-up question?
Yeah, if you could please talk about what those differences what those differences are, rather than just different players.
I think that's the biggest difference is the players. I think the heart's the same. Everything's the same, just the players. I don't know how to go in depth with that. I think, that just kind of sums it up.
To the left side of the aisle, Janine.
Good morning, guys. Congratulations. Janine Edwards, ESPN. This question is for Coach and also for the players. What did you do last night? What time did you go to bed? What did you do? And what is the most interesting text, tweet, email, phone call that you received?
Coach first.
I didn't go to sleep too much. I had to stay up and watch Kentucky and do scouting reports and do those different things. I have an amazing coaching staff, and we collaborate on a lot of things. It's just not me. They do a great job preparing my student athletes for the war and the battle. So we was up, all night preparing. The only text I got, from Coach Brown, just saying congratulations and have fun with it. And I love him to death. And, I had an opportunity to talk to him this morning, and he just gave me some sound advice. Have fun. Don't make it complicated.
Same question to DeAndre and then Shabazz.
Last night after the game, we went to the hotel, showered, ate some chicken tacos, and couldn't really sleep. Was tossing and turning all night, just thinking about Monday, and just couldn't wait to get on the court. And my text messages, I don't remember. I had like 68 text messages, so I don't really know.
I ain't gonna go in depth like he did, but after the game, I sat and ate with my mother. We were just talking and just hanging it out, and text messages I got was just saying, keep working hard, way to keep your composure, and way to just keep believing.
On the right side of the center aisle.
Steve Futterman from CBS News for Coach and Shabazz and Ryan. I'd like to know a simplistic question, but you've watched this game since you were young men, children. What does it mean to be in this game? The importance of this game? What does it mean to you to be in this spotlight? And a second question for Coach. If you're faced with your team up by 1 point with 5.7 seconds to go, what are you going to do to stop Harrison?
Hopefully we are in that position. We're up, and we have an opportunity to fall back on our defense. We've been doing that the whole year. Hasn't been offense, it's been defense, and that's what we hang our hats on. I've been telling you guys the whole time, Madison Square Garden or not Madison Square Garden, we play defense to win those games. And it's the same thing we brought here to Texas. We're going to hang our hat on defense, and in that situation, I like the flow. I look at the flow of the game, who's playing the best defense, the best five out there on the court that can play together, can get one more stop. And hopefully it comes down to that, and hopefully we get one more stop to win a game and win a national championship.
Ryan or Shabazz, did you have an answer to the first part of that question?
I forgot.
Me too.
I forgot the question. What was the question? I forgot.
I forgot too.
Oh, I'm mad. I'm tired. It means it just means a lot, basically. We work so hard to get to this point, and we just continue to believe in each other, and it's just so surreal to be back here. Nels can tell you when we was a freshman, the biggest thing guys said was, take your chances, take your opportunity now, because you don't know when you're coming back. And for us to be back here now is so surreal.
We'll move to the next question on the right side, Greg.
Greg Logan of Newsday for Ryan. Last night, Coach Donovan gave you and Shabazz credit for keeping Will Beacon out of the lane and taking them out of their offense. The Harrison twins have as good as they are, have been high turnover guys at times. What do you see from them in terms of ball handling that you feel you might be able to take advantage of?
Hello. I ain't gonna reveal all my secrets, but you know, I'm gonna just try to do my best to turn them up and down the floor. Just try to make them uncomfortable. Just try to get up in them, be a little physical with them. But other than that, you know, they good point guards. They're big, so their dribble is a little high. But like I said, I'm gonna just execute the defensive schemes that coach come up with, and just try to turn them up and down the floor.
On the right side in the front.
Ben Spiegel with the New York Times. Kevin, Billy Donovan said last night that the big difference between last night's game and the game from 4 months ago was that you've evolved into a great defensive team. When did that transition occur for you, and when did you first get the sense that Ryan would be such an effective defender as he is?
I knew Ryan was going to be an effective defender 3 years ago. I mean, it's nothing new to me. You know, we wanted him to be more consistent with it, and I think he's starting to do that and just affect the game in so many different ways. And he alluded to it earlier. You know, he had to mature as a young man and a basketball player. It's not all about scoring. He can impact the game in so many ways, and he's starting to do that at the highest stage. And he's been doing it last year. He's been doing it this year, and now everybody's seeing it. But I've been seeing it every day in practice. The guy never misses a practice. I mean, for 3 years, they missed a practice. So y'all don't see that. I see it. And I know the type of heart he has, but I know the type of heart every one of these guys are up here, and the guys that's in the locker room. You know, our walk-ons, all of us got heart, and we play that way. It's not a fluke that we're here. It's core values and it's principles. It's not a fluke.
On the right side in the center, Reed.
Coach, Reed Forgrave with Fox Sports 1 straight in front of you. Howdy. A lot of players, like Shabazz just said, have referred to you as a father figure. I'm curious, what's your philosophy as a mentor, and how has that evolved since you've become a head coach?
I'm not here to motivate these guys or inspire these guys. They motivate themselves. I'm just here to add value. I just want to add value each and every day, and if they need something, at the end of the day, they know I got their back. Negative or positive, they can come in my office and I got their back. And, you know, every day I come in with the same mindset that I want to get better at something. I want to help them be better men. And basketball is second to me. I want them better people once they leave Storrs campus. And if I did that, forget about the wins and losses, national championship, all that stuff, I think I've done my job. If they leave that court, that Storrs campus, a better person and a better man, able to make an imprint on their community.
On the right side in the back, Raphael.
Raphael Johnson, NBC Sports. You know, Coach, you've talked a lot about your team's improved defensive effort over the last month. What's been the biggest difference in that area, and also how much has Terrence Samuel helped in terms of the perimeter defense down the stretch? Oh, Terrence been huge. He's really allowed me to put three-point guards on the court at the same time, and it's really allowing, you know, us to create havoc on the defensive end, picking up our pressure, but it's really allowing us to space the floor and use our dribble drive sets more effectively, and he's just been doing an outstanding job. Our defensive mentality, paying attention to details, we always say the genius is in the details, and we're paying attention to more details. And, you know, these guys know if we lose, we go home. And whenever you got your backs against the wall, like these student athletes have had their backs against the wall, they fought. They fighters, and every one of them. They fight to the end, and they know, you know, if we don't bring our A game and we don't have a B or C game, we have an A game, then we'll go home, and they don't want to go home. They made for more. They made for this championship game, and we're gonna go out here and play 40 full, and hopefully Connecticut is on that big billboard at the Jumbotron, whatever Jerry Jones called it, saying that we're national championships and national champions, and that's all we want.
All the way in the back to the left of the camera platform. Raise your hands, guys. There you go.
Coach, Kent Taylor from Wave TV in Louisville. After that 33-point loss in the regular season finale, you said something, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but about, you know, these guys, maybe we can play 2 more games and go on spring break or something. How quickly did you know that that wouldn't be the case, that they wanted to fight? Was it on the bus ride home? Was it the next practice?
No, I knew we was going to fight. I'm going to just tell you what I said. I said if we play like that and we're going to go home and we're going to enjoy spring break. But I know we fighters. And when we got back in, on that bus and we got back to practice, I could see the look in their eyes. And dark times is what promotes you. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that happened because we went back and I had to evaluate myself as a coach. And I hope every player went to their dorms and looked themselves in the mirror and had to evaluate their effort. And down times like that just promote you. So I'm glad it happened because we all got together. We knew what we had to do. The challenge was in front of us, and we was going to face it. And we got better from that. And, Louisville beat us again in the tournament. But that's all right. We got better from it. And that's what we want to keep doing. Every challenge, get better from it. Don't get down on each other. Stay together. And I think that even brought us together. So I'm glad Pitino did that to us.
On the right side in the front row.
Joe Trahan from WFAA TV here in Dallas. Coach Ollie, this is for you. Having been born here, and I understand you're a Cowboys fan.
Yes.
And I know you took the team here to come and see the stadium when you guys played SMU back in January. Can you put in perspective what significance this setting has for you, if any?
Oh, it's great significance. I was born in Oak Cliff, right in Dallas. All my family is here. I'm able to get here. My mother's able to get here. It's just a great opportunity to look out in the crowd and after we won and see all your family members here. Of course, I'm a big Dallas Cowboys fan, and I did bring the team here, and I wanted them to come and just see where we can actually be at on this date tomorrow, Monday. And I just wanted them to have a vision. They enjoyed the trip. They more enjoyed going in the Dallas cheerleaders' locker room more than anything. So, but they enjoyed the trip.
On the right side.
Coach Zach McCright, Franchise Sports Radio in Oklahoma City, and being there, and this is before your tournament run, your name was brought up without being asked about it by Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, etc., about how your presence there, Kevin Durant's quote was, it was a game changer for the franchise. And I was just wondering, for those folks in Oklahoma City, what you think about something like that.
I think the world of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Sam Presti, that whole organization, they changed my life. I know Kevin Durant says that, but, man, he changed my life. They gave me an opportunity to, they took on a 37-year-old point guard that can't really shoot and gave me another life, another contract. So, but their organization is so great. They treat everybody first class. They treat the last player on the bench just like they treat KD. And KD is a humble young man. And everybody get caught up in that quote. I get caught up in the quote he said at the end of the day. He said, I want to be called a servant. And I want all these guys to understand that the best player on their team saying, I want to be a servant. And if we can serve each other, we'll be a better team. And that's what their organization is built on. And that's why they're going to be a successful franchise going from years to years to years and to show that consistency because that's their motto.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Here we go. My goodness. Oh, yeah. Napier again. There you go. The kids from Kentucky are heading to the Sweet 16. Boatwright showing me something. There you go. Kentucky, how about that? The elation goes to the Huskies of Connecticut. Kentucky takes the final spot.
I dreamed about this day for a long time. I always dreamt about this.
The national championship, baby. No one probably expected us to be here.
Everybody doubted us. Nobody said we were going to be here, but here we are.
Finally, it's all paying off. We get to prove that we can win a national title.
We don't need anybody else to believe in us. When we look each other in the eye, we already know.
This is UConn time.
We always believed that we were going to be here.
And now, we're finally here. We made it.
Wow, what a play. Oh, Daniels! And he's done it again. Kentucky is making a run. Oh, my God. How did that happen? No look pass. Right on the money. Aaron Harrison. Oh, beyond belief. Spectacular performance by the Huskies. Kentucky has done it again. On to the championship game.
Let it shine.
Which team will shine tonight at AT&T Stadium? Let It Shine, sung by the inspiring Body of Christ Living Sound Choir from right here in Dallas. As we bring you inside, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80,000 will be on hand. 66 games played to get to this point, and 2 heavyweight programs left standing for the biggest title of all. National champion will be Kentucky, or will it be Connecticut? Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Steve Kerr, Greg Anthony. Can't wait to call this one with my buddies. Who would have thought 3 weeks ago, Selection Sunday, brackets come out, all the speculation, who will make it to the championship game? We got a 7 and an 8 seed playing for the national title.
Yeah, we do. But, guys, as you well know, this is not about Cinderella. And it's also not about the fact that these are 2 elite-level, tradition-driven programs. It's more about the fact that their talent has finally matured over the course of the tournament, and that's why they're both playing for the title.
Yeah, both clubs on a run. What's interesting to me, Greg, is how the 2 clubs enter this game. A little different manner, I think. UConn, a veteran club, methodical win over Florida. They're healthy and ready to go. Kentucky's got some injury issues and expended so much energy getting past Wisconsin, which was followed by a national championship-like celebration.
No kidding, and script seems the same every time. Aaron Harrison, 3 straight games with a game winner, and this one the best of them all.
Look at the depth on this shot. Just the 5th three-point attempt all game coming from Kentucky, but Harrison, incredible heroics in this tournament.
Now, take a look at this. You may not have seen this footage. In the victory pile, number 22, Alex Poitras, a very valuable reserve and former starter, twisted his knee in that celebration, and you know, he said he's been in pain over the weekend since the game.
He's a critical performer for this team, particularly in this game. Remember, Willie Cauley-Stein is out with the injury. So Poitras and Cauley-Stein, the 2 most important pick-and-roll defenders on this team. And, Jim, they're going to see 1,000 pick-and-rolls between Boatwright and Napier tonight.
And one other thing to report. We just saw this in the warm-ups. You might remember on Saturday, Julius Randle rolled his right ankle, and he's been out here grimacing in pain. I met with him yesterday. That right foot last year, he broke it in the 2nd game of his senior season and missed the whole season until the state championship game, which he came back for. That's the same foot. Let's shift it over now to the UConn Huskies. We all know about Napier. Sensational, All-America, but he's found some help in this NCAA tournament.
He really has. Shabazz Napier, his greatness is the reason why UConn's been good all season. But really, it's been about him finally getting a little help from his friends. That's allowed this UConn team to have a chance to become great. DeAndre Daniels has just been lights out on that front line with providing balance from an offensive standpoint and toughness on the backboard. And nobody's been tougher than Ryan Boatwright. Defensively, as disruptive as any guard you're going to see in America, he very well may be the catalyst as to whether or not UConn cuts down the nets.
Well, Greg and Steve have been calling these 2 programs Blue Bloods, Kentucky and Connecticut, about to tangle for the national championship deep in the heart of Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to honor America and those who support our freedom at home and abroad. The presentation of the colors is provided by the Joint Services Honor Guard from Naval Air Station, Fort Worth. Please welcome award-winning country singer and songwriter Darius Rucker. and Dallas's own Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing and Visual Arts Jazz Singers in the performance of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still. Oh, sweet as that star-spangled banner yet waved o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Championship Night. Making their 12th championship game appearance, they are the winners of 8 national championships. Please welcome the Kentucky Wildcats. What a play. Kentucky is making a run. Tapped up somehow. How did that happen? Oh, my goodness. It right to him. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh, beyond belief. Kentucky has done it again.
We are Kentucky. Let's go, Cats.
Starting tonight for the Kentucky Wildcats. At forward, a freshman from Rochester Hills, Michigan, number 1, James Young. At guard, a freshman from Richmond, Texas, number 2, Aaron Harrison. At guard, a freshman from Richmond, Texas, number 5, Andrew Harrison. At forward, a freshman from Dallas, Texas, number 30, Julius Randle. At center, a freshman from Brooklyn, New York, number 44, Dakari Johnson. They are the 3-time national champions and are appearing in their 4th championship game in the last 15 years. Please welcome the Connecticut Huskies.
Here with all the strength I find, there's nothing I can't do.
Here's Daniels, and he's done it again. Wow, did the Huskies catch fire here. What a move. Here they go. Oh, right up ahead. Oh, Daniels. No one pass. Right on the money. Wow. UConn. Spectacular performance by the Huskies.
We are UConn. Go Huskies. Let's go, UConn. Let's go.
Starting tonight for the UConn Huskies. At forward, a sophomore From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, number 0, Philip Nolan. At forward, a junior from Los Angeles, California, number 2, DeAndre Daniels. At forward, a senior from Berlin, Germany, number 5, Niels Giffey. At guard, a junior from Aurora, Illinois, number 11, Ryan Boatwright. At guard, a senior from Roxbury, Massachusetts, number 13, Shabazz Napier. And introducing the head coaches for Kentucky in his 5th season for the Wildcats, John Calipari. For UConn in his 2nd season for the Huskies, Kevin Ollie. So, everything is all set now. Greatest night of the year in basketball is coming up. Welcome back to the national championship game, which will be governed by Vern Harris, Joe DeRosa, and Doug Shows with Mike Roberts, the alternate, at the table. Quick thought here before tip-off, fellas.
Well, it's so much to look for. I think the initial thing is, how does UConn play it? They like to extend pressure, but when you do that against Kentucky, you're exposed on the backside with all those athletes coming in for lobs and offensive boards. So you got to find out how UConn is going to approach this game defensively.
It'll be Nolan and Randall. We'll be keeping an eye on Randall early, grimacing and warm-ups. Tapped by Nolan. Back to Napier. Greg, a thought.
Well, also, remember the last game against Florida, UConn's guards, as much as they pressured, neither committed a foul in that game. And so you got to assume that's not going to be the case tonight. And then secondly, for me, UConn's guards like the pressure, and the ball will stay with UConn. And typically, you pressure to disrupt offense. Kentucky doesn't run a lot of sets. They basically are looking to play a lot of one-on-one basketball, so those two strengths will be going at each other.
Driving it inside right away for Boatwright for the game's first 2. And these guards are so dangerous for Connecticut.
At both ends, Jim, you saw the drive, and now Boatwright picking up at half court. We didn't see full court pressure, just man-to-man half court.
And we've seen a lot of teams that tend to try to cross-match against Kentucky because of the size of their backcourt. And although UConn's undersized, they have gone with the prototype matchup of their 1s and 2s playing against the Harrisons. So confident is Kevin Ollie that they can defend.
Bounce pass, and it wasn't there. A turnover by Kentucky. But one right back committed by the Huskies. The Wildcats only 4 turnovers in that victory against Wisconsin. Here's Randall, put back Johnson, no, and it's Nolan who snags it.
And you saw the athleticism on that play of Nolan. One of the first times you've seen all tournament that someone physically could match up with Kentucky on that front line when they attacked the offensive glass.
Napier, who took only 6 shots in the victory against Florida, but played a very solid game. Did what he had to do. With 6 rebounds, 4 steals, and the opening 3 rattles out. Napier's first shot. It took a long time before he got an attempt off on Saturday. Harrison, Andrew down low, Dakari Johnson, and this time he scores on the inside.
This is Kentucky's advantage. It's the physical strength. UConn is really long and rangy and athletic, but Kentucky can go right into the paint and into the bodies of the UConn defenders and have success.
But that's where the ability to pressure the basketball and not allow for those post-feed angles to be created.
There goes Daniels! Baseline blowing past the Wildcats.
And I think important for UConn, the 2 guys that have been the most important and most inconsistent score their first 2 baskets in both Boatwright and Daniel.
Andrew Harrison drives in, and that was blocked. That was blocked by Nolan. Up ahead, Giffey takes it to the hole, and he scored.
And this is the one concern if you're John Calipari. When you attack the offensive glass as relentless as they do, and you don't come up with the goods, they are susceptible to get attacked in transition, and UConn has the guard plays to take advantage.
It's Young to the paint. And again, oh, they're going to call a foul. First, it looked like they might let it go. A foul call on Daniels. And again, it was slashing to the basket. At this end, by Daniels.
And the speed and quickness of this UConn team has shown. I think they're a little quicker than Kentucky, getting out in transition. Also, Daniels getting that drive to the hoop. And the other thing we've seen here early, guys, I think UConn has taken a little page out of Wisconsin's book. They are selling out to protect against penetration, not extending their pressure as much, but really forcing Kentucky to shoot the ball from the three-point line.
Interesting move here. Randall comes out after only 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and then Poitras, you spoke about him in the opening, with that twisted left knee in the victory pile on Saturday, and he's out here. We'll watch him.
I think the Willie Cauley-Stein injury is much bigger in this game, guys, than it was the other day against Wisconsin because of all the screen and rolls and the switching that Kentucky likes to do with the pick and rolls. But remember, Napier and Boatwright can go right around bigger defenders on these switches.
And remember also, because of the 2 point guards, they're never going to be in an attack position against 5 sets of eyes, meaning they move the defense, and when they get it on the weak side is when they look to attack.
Daniels long on the three and out of bounds to Kentucky. And the other thing about Cauley-Stein, you're talking about a guy that blocked 110 shots this year. I mean, such a presence, as you said, just protecting the cylinder.
And their best pick and roll defender because he can switch onto smaller guards, and he's so quick laterally, he can stay in front and still challenge shots with his length.
And that's a great point. He can play in space, meaning at 7 foot, he can guard on the 3-point line against guards and still recover to get to the paint to contest shots. That is a vital asset to lose for Kentucky.
Here's James Young getting it his way again. He was effective on Saturday, had a game-high 17 for Kentucky against Wisconsin, and he kept taking it to the paint like we've seen twice already. Once drawing a foul, leading to the line, and then that basket.
And getting to his left hand again. You know in the scouting report you're supposed to send him right, but he's so quick, still manages to get to that left hand.
Napier beats him, then goes outside to 5, and UConn is not hitting the outside shot. They've had open looks.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at that steal. It's Napier to Boatwright and Poitras.
Did you see the misdemeanor committed there by Shabazz Napier? My goodness. And that's something that he and Boatwright do really well. And you see here the contest there by Dakari Johnson, clearly a foul, but...
Well, that'll send Boatwright to the line when we come back after this under 16 timeout.
Welcome back to North Texas. Take a look at Shabazz Napier, folks. Good defensive guards. They time you, they count your dribbles, and they get a feel for your tendencies as a ball handler. And that play right there leads to the foul on Dakari Johnson. It will also at times make a ball handler more tentative because you know that a guy has the ability to pick your pocket.
So, Randall, you guys thought when he was out there for under 3 minutes, he was not looking 100%.
I thought he was struggling a little bit with his movement, and I think my initial impressions in this game, UConn is the much quicker team. They're getting a lot of looks that they can knock down. Kentucky's going to have to pick up its defense a little bit and try to stay in front of these guards.
A champion is going to be crowned tonight, and right after the game, get your official championship gear. Get locker room tees, hats, and more at the official championship store of the NCAA, ncaa.com/shop. And Boatwright hits them both. This is an outstanding free throw shooting team. The Huskies, top 10 in the nation this year. Napier almost got to it. Aaron Harrison still trying to find it. Picked off the ground and off the hands of Nolan. It'll go to Kentucky.
And that's one of the advantages UConn will have. They will switch defenses. They will show extended pressure. They'll come back. They'll give you a little matchup, then that relentless man-to-man, just to force Kentucky to think. That's what you want with great athletes, to make them think and not play off of instinct.
Amita Brima, the 7-foot freshman, has come in for Connecticut. Now you see also Dominique Hawkins, who gave them valuable minutes in a reserve role. 11 minutes overall of action against Wisconsin. Another freshman. And here's Poitras spinning and getting rejected by Brima, who just come in. Bounce pass, and the shot rattles home. That was Chroma, who also had just entered the game.
And I think this is what we're going to see from UConn. If there's a transition basket to be had, they're going to take it early. If not, they're going to run a lot of clock, and already the pressure bothering Harrison, a backcourt violation.
Again, you're going to get tented when you sense how quick a guy is and how good he can be. And the key to this is the anticipation there. It just makes you a little tentative and hesitant with your hand. Remember, Andrew and Aaron, neither guys blow by you. They use their size to get to the rim.
Randall back on the floor.
And the other thing we've seen, guys, is that off of that block shot, another transition opportunity. Again, that's a concern for Kentucky.
Here comes Napier, hitting the three-point shot.
This is the major concern for Kentucky. All these screening rolls, a lot of switches. Napier can rise up and shoot over the top of anybody. But when you honor that, you can get right to the rim. There's just too many things to worry about with him.
James Young, three-point shot rattles out. And Grima says, nope, that belongs to me. 7-0 run for the Huskies and looking for more.
And we've seen it all tournament. Both these teams have been great because of their ability to make adjustments. And now Kentucky's going to have to make an adjustment offensively because they're not getting the kind of shots we've seen them get over the course of this tournament.
Daniels into the lane. Grima. And this time does not get the benefit of a roll. And Randall takes it off the floor. Back to Kentucky.
And I like the ball movement from UConn. Florida the other day after switches didn't move the ball. They tried to attack one-on-one as Randall gets fouled. But Napier and the Huskies have been pretty patient. You see the switch here, Randall on him. He's just going to rise right up over the top. But he's not going to get lulled into a lot of shots. He's going to continue to move the ball and kind of let the action play out, force Kentucky's defense to move before attacking immediately.
And a foul on Chroma, who had missed the shot at the other end. And it'll put Randall on the line. Again, a Dallas kid right here. Next Monday, Lindsay Lohan guest stars as a high-maintenance bride-to-be on a new Two Broke Girls. New time, 8/7 Central. Only CBS. Julius Randall, a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. His heroes are Tony Romo and Des Bryant, who are accustomed to putting some points on the board right here inside of this beautiful edifice. And Randall hits two.
And Hawkins, I think, guys, is going to be important because he's their best perimeter defender. And so while not the strength offensively that the other guys provide for Kentucky, his defense may be more important in this game.
Lafai back to Napier, who wants it. You can see it. And he almost got another one. And the rebound bounces out to Lafai and a reset for the Huskies. Now, Napier falls to the floor. And so, too, does Marcus Lee.
Could be a block on Lee. I thought Napier was terrific the other day against Florida with his patience. Florida did a nice job containing him, and he never forced the issue. He just kept moving the ball like a senior does. This time he frees himself up for an easy two.
Count that basket, and did you see that savvy move to get open on the inbounds pass?
A little slip. Just in the eyes, you can see they're reading one another on that play. Beautiful connection between those two on that baseline out of bounds, and then you get to see the extension of their pressure.
Andrew Harrison, tough angle. Not there. Boatwright. And the Huskies want to run with it. They've got the numbers. And they go to the trailer, who says, you know what, Marcus Lee's going to block it if I take it. And I'm going to go to Burns. Instead, he spun him around and took him to the other side. What a beautiful move by Ryan Boatwright. Kentucky's gone over 4 minutes without a field goal. And the Huskies have the early momentum in the national championship game. Tracy Wolfson's been by that Kentucky bench during the timeout. What have you heard, Tracy?
Well, first off, do not expect to see Julius Randall when they get back out on the court. He'll remain on the bench. I think it may be cramping. The athletic trainer continues to come over and just keeps giving him water. Remember that Julius Randall had trouble with cramps at that Louisville game in December. He missed a whole half, so it is something to keep an eye on, guys.
And then again, too, hobbling with that rolling of the right ankle in the victory over Wisconsin on Saturday. Same foot that he broke in the second game of his senior year here at Prestonwood Christian High School. And he did not come back for 3 months until the state championship game when he scored 17 and they won another title.
UConn goes back to zone now. This is about the third different look we've seen, just trying to keep Kentucky off balance.
Aaron Harrison misses. Wisconsin's wondering why wasn't that the result on Saturday from the same spot. Driving in between two Kentucky players. And a foul call on the Wildcats. That was Lasan Chroma taking it to the hole. And, you know, actually, it's going against him.
I think was it Brima?
They called on Brima.
This is going to be an interesting stretch here from Kentucky's standpoint. Remember, they've in essence been in this same position the last 4 games. They've trailed going into the half of all 4, and they were able to come back. And they've been down significant deficits as well. But I think Andrew and Aaron Harrison are 2 guys that have got to figure out a way to play against this pressure and quickness of UConn's backcourt.
Missing the last 4 shots from the field. Hawkins back outside, and the Twins pass it between them with 7 to shoot. Splitting the defenders, taking it in, and followed up by Poitras. He puts the exclamation point on so many follow-ups.
Well, it's their best offense. We've seen it all tournament. Just get into the paint. Any kind of penetration, get to the rim and put the ball up there and let your bigs go get it.
Boatwright, though, able to neutralize it with a quick 2 at the other end. Asking for a screen. And feeding it to Hawkins. And Napier tumbles over him. And he's getting up. Here's Poitras. Hawkins, the little man on the floor, able to get inside and get the rebound, partly because Napier was slow to get up.
No doubt about it. Kentucky's best offense at times is a shot at the rim. You're going to see the effort of Poitras showing no ill effect from that ankle. And Boatwright back at you with his own bucket.
For more information and register for next year, it's wide open right now. And we'll see you this weekend from Augusta National. We're going to have now Hawkins at the line after a foul by Boatwright. Freshman from just outside of Lexington. And Kentucky in familiar territory, trailing in tournament games, including that Louisville game where they were staggered early, down 18-5.
And that's true. But John Calipari is going to have his greatest challenge as a coach in this tournament, I believe, because unlike Louisville, who has a terrific backcourt, I don't know that their backcourt is at the same level IQ-wise that you get with UConn, not to mention the way they shoot free throws. So he's going to have to come up with some schemes to get his guys some confidence.
Napier, no. And Bakari Johnson has the rebound. UConn's put another guard on the floor in Terrence Samuel, number 3.
The issue for Calipari, though, this is a freshman-laden team. They had to really scale back on schemes with this group because of their inexperience. Pick and roll coverage, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can cover it, but you've got to have execution and precision and experience. Kentucky has switched 1 through 5 all year just to make it simple for these guys. I'm not sure they have other schemes.
There's another steal, and that's the one we just talked about. The freshman who's come in, Samuel, who then almost has it taken right back by Hawkins.
The size and then just the ability to come in. Look how cleanly he's able to clip that. And you can see the frustration right there on Andrew Harrison running back. The other thing, though, you still as a player, they'll have to make the adjustment to the speed with which UConn plays. And we've seen that over the course of this tournament. They've done that, even though they're a young team and it has been simplified. You know, they do have an ability to make the adjustments at times, and let's just see if that still prevails here tonight.
Daniels, who's had big games in this tournament, including a double-double on Saturday. Napier, Young, right on him. And the switch off. Daniels challenging Randall. Takes it to him, and Randall says, not this time. Goodbye, doesn't know it. 1 to shoot. Not in time.
And how about the block by Julius Randle? That was so impressive because he didn't get a chance to gather, because Daniels, that nudge right there doesn't allow him to gather, still able to elevate and block that cleanly. That is an impressive play defensively.
And that was the first adjustment we've seen. Kentucky now fighting over the screen rather than switching, and that allowed them to stay man on man and allowed Randall to get that block. So we'll see if UConn now makes the adjustment in terms of how they run their pick and roll to attack what they're seeing.
Kentucky with 10 points in the first 10 minutes, and then the jumper finally. Kentucky at 19-12 down, and already having committed 4 turnovers. And one of the most impressive things about this freshman bunch is that against Wisconsin, only 4 turnovers for the whole game. And inside, out with it. Samuel banks it in with the left hand.
And the quickness of Napier to keep the ball alive. Remember though, Jim, Wisconsin's not a team that forces turnovers. That's not the style with which they play. They don't have that scheme in their game, whereas UConn is a team that's going to be more disruptive defensively because of that perimeter quickness.
Backing in to Kari Johnson and blocked from behind by Daniels. Misses the short shot and pulled away with aggression by Brima.
Length and activity, the key for this UConn front line defensively. They can't deal with the strength, but they can bother Kentucky's field goal attempts just by getting hands up.
And a three-point shot, swish!
That's just a difficult matchup, guys, for James Young. I mean, Napier's just so savvy, and he's so solid with his decision-making.
I think it's Napier's game tonight. Yes. With the matchups, the way this game is being played, I think he's headed for a huge night.
Andrew Harrison bangs home a 3. Napier's got a look about him. First couple times down the floor, we even talked about him on the break. He looks like he knows he can have it his way.
He feels like every time he takes the floor, he's the best player on the floor. But having said that, you saw a little adjustment from Kentucky offensively, where Andrew's been able to get to the mid-range and then there with the 3 as Daniel's able to hit that little step back on the baseline.
Wow. I mean, that was an impressive, that was a Dirk Nowitzki step back move.
And, you know, the other thing we haven't really discussed, Kentucky has not played well defensively the entire tournament. It's been about what they've been able to do offensively in terms of their efficiency that's allowed them to advance.
Young likes this spot. That's Napier, who has the most rebounds of any Husky, coming inside to get the rebound. In the dish. And no from the inside. Brima had a little chippy and was unable to convert. When we reached the break, Kentucky shooting only 31%. UConn led by Boatwright's 8 points and a double-digit lead. 7 and change to go, and look at the bottom. The starting guards for UConn have outscored Kentucky on the road, 16-15.
And this is what we've talked about, guys, the pick and roll coverage for Kentucky. This is not a great pick and roll defensive team. They're going against probably the best pick and roll player in the country in Shabazz Napier. He gets the switch here. He gets Julius Randle on his heels. He rises up. How many times did you see this against Michigan State last week? Yeah. Napier can have his way in this game.
And you made that point earlier, Steve. Remember, I think, and he's such a smart player, he went into the Florida game knowing in terms of the style that he wasn't going to be as aggressive because of how they would scheme him. But he knew in this game, matchup-wise, that they didn't have the personnel to really disrupt what he wants to do. And so that's why I think you're seeing him far more aggressive at setting the tone here early on.
They come out of the break, and again, the best player, Randall, is taking a break. He's only attempted 1 shot, didn't make it, has not made a shot from the field, just a couple of free throws. So he's not his usual force. And that's Boatwright. It's always the Huskies, it seems, with the quickest hands tonight. And Napier, that will count. Poitras swats it away after it comes off the glass and was headed home.
They have 2 bulldogs in the backcourt. Yeah. You look at Boatwright and Napier. They have as good a ball instinct as any backcourt you're going to see. And by that, I mean, you watch how the game develops. They're always around the basketball, be it rebounding, loose balls, deflections. They just have an innate ability to find the ball.
And it's heading back to Connecticut. And Kentucky's largest deficit of the tournament has been matched at 13 down.
Well, they're rattled right now, and they're completely out of sorts. I mean, Young steps a foot out of bounds. Speed kills. I mean, this is a story of quickness right now. Kentucky, a much slower team, and now they're going to fall back into the zone here.
Which is, I think, a smart move just to try to change up the rhythm that UConn's gotten at attacking this defense.
Napier to the baseline. Defies a good outside shooter. Steps in and fouled by Poitras in the act of shooting.
That's and the other thing, it could almost be nightmarish. Just think about it. You go zone, and typically a zone is to try to force non-decision makers to make decisions in terms of your frontline players. Defy and Daniels are really good with the basketball at the high post.
They've run a little zone in the tournament. You guys saw some of it against Louisville. Not a whole lot. They'll show some 1-3-1, but this is a team that would rather stay man-to-man.
Get the most complete coverage of the sports you love all year long with the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. Go deeper with Team Stream on your iPad, iPhone, or Android device today as Randall comes back in. Defy is from Berlin, Germany. His parents, Christine and Frank, are watching this right now on March Madness Live at 3:45 in the morning in their living room. They've hooked up the computer to their television, as is his high school coach, who won a national championship under Dean Smith's 93 team. You'll remember, a lot of you, Henrik Rodel.
Yeah, sure.
And he's back there watching, streaming in Germany, and very proud of Defy, who hits the 2 free throws.
And you know how we talked about for Napier, this game is a good matchup for him. I think it's the same for Randall. I think this is a game that Randall can have an opportunity to be aggressive. I think that's the second on Daniels. And he's going to have to be the guy. The key, though, if you're Kentucky, your backcourt has to recognize that. Andrew and Aaron they have to understand where the matchup lies in order for them to have success offensively.
Question I have, you mentioned this early in the game, they don't run a lot of sets.
No.
I mean, they've relied so heavily on the penetration of the Harrisons. So now, how do you make the adjustment? You're not an elaborate offensive scheming team, and you got a bunch of freshmen. So this is a huge challenge.
Young able to knock that one down. And a moment there we should reflect on. Daniels picks up his second, so he had to go to the bench. And a steal. That is Aaron Harrison knocking it down. The steal and the dunk, and a quick 5-point flurry for the Cats.
And just like that, the length of the zone by Aaron Harrison comes up with the steal. Finally, Kentucky showing some confidence.
And how about this duo right here? They go by 42 and 43. 42nd and 43rd presidents enjoying the game together. President Clinton, President George W. Bush.
Bipartisan sportsmanship.
They've become good friends, and they do a lot of speaking events together. We're heading up to Canada in a few weeks to do another one. And President Bush came to the opening ceremony to welcome the teams to his hometown as Napier says hello to three-point land once again.
You know, I was just about to comment on how the zone for Calipari has kind of changed the rhythm a little bit, but it hasn't changed the effectiveness of Napier.
Well, this is an excellent three-point shooting team, 39% on the season. They make more than 7 per game, so the zone is pretty risky with all those shooters.
Here's Young stepping up. That's a 2. And flying through for the rebound is Aaron Harrison. And a foul zone Boatwright. It's his second.
Take a look at Napier. And this is, you're not expecting a shot to be taken from 8 feet beyond the three-point line, but he's got the ability to make that shot. And now what happens after you make a shot like that, now you got to take a step further out, which will allow him to get into the teeth of the defense.
The other thing is, as a shooter, when you've seen zone 3 straight possessions, now you're sitting on that shot because you know it's going to be there for you.
That one's not there for Aaron Harrison. He's missed on his first 2 shots from 3 tonight. Put him in the last minute, though. They always go. And here's Nolan. Denied by Randall. A second magnificent block tonight. Andrew Harrison again. Got the tough angle, but got the pass out. And Young is able to hit the jumper.
And that play is important because Andrew Harrison made a play for a teammate. Typically, his attacks results in shots at the rim. That time he creates for a teammate. That's a big basket for the Wildcats.
Young has 10 of Kentucky's 23 after that three-point shot. With 3.5 to play and a half that's been controlled by Connecticut, but Kentucky right now is starting to create a little havoc here for the Huskies.
Really unforced errors, though, Jim. I mean, it's not like they're getting after them defensively. It's just a little confusion in their zone offense, which is, I think, unwarranted.
Well, what's happened, though, is the game is slowed down somewhat, and it allows Kentucky's size to have more impact. They're so big in the backcourt as well as the front line that there's not a lot of space to operate for UConn.
And 3 more by Andrew Harrison. 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
You guys said it. We've seen this every game in the tournament. They find a way to battle back.
Yep, very familiar script. Kentucky's 4 out of 9 from 3. And here's Napier. And Kentucky controls it again.
9 3-point attempts from Kentucky already. 5 the entire semifinal win over Wisconsin.
And that's going to be a hold on Nolan down low. First on Nolan. It's an 11-3 stretch. Maybe the freshmen have finally found their footing. Ollie's 15-point lead has been trimmed to 7 by Coach Cal's Wildcats. Folks, there's going to be an unbelievable matchup tomorrow night on ESPN, the Division I Women's Basketball National Championship game. First time in history, women's basketball history, 2 undefeated teams will play for the national title. You've got Notre Dame looking for its 2nd national title, and UConn looking for its 9th, and that's tomorrow night. For more information, go to NCAA.com.
You know, give John Calipari a lot of credit for going to the zone here. And the thing about it is UConn executes it perfectly. They get into the high post, they make the right decision, but sometimes you can't out-execute athleticism. And that was just a terrific athletic play by Kentucky to save that basket.
But the other issue is that they're playing against this zone without Daniels. With the 2 fouls, it's been an 11-3, now 12-3 run for the Wildcats since Daniels sat down. Well, it makes a huge difference, obviously. He's their big scorer during this run.
So Takari Johnson hits the front end of a 1-and-1, only a 44% shooter from the line. And somehow Napier is the one who's able to control it. Defies to the baseline. Back out Napier from the wing. That is way over everything. And let's go over to Tracy.
Well, guys, Kentucky well aware about Julius Randle, and during that timeout, they continuously look over to see if Randle is going to start, he's going to go out there, or he's going to stay on the bench. Also, John Calipari right now really liking the energy from his team. He's been on them all game about it.
And again, they've gotten basically nothing from Randle with this, and a couple of great blocks by him, but not a field goal. Is Hawkins passes up the shot. Here is Randle taking it inside, and he's shut down, and Napier again got the quick hands on it, and the ball's on the floor. It leads to a tie-up, and it stays at the Wildcats' end. With 1:51 to go in this first half, Kentucky clawing back. 6 down. Kentucky trying to become only the 2nd number 8 seed to win the title. Villanova did it back, of course, 85, that epic win on the Wildcats floor there at Rupp Arena. Kentucky and UConn since '96, each with 3 national titles, as the Huskies go for 4 tonight in a 15-year span. But right now, his latest span. Ever since Daniels went down with 2 fouls, things have changed. Napier, big step to the hole, twists the shot, and somehow able to contort and get the 2.
Goodness. Well, with Daniels on the bench, not much floor spacing for UConn. When Kentucky went back to a man-to-man, that's just Napier doing what he does.
Took a 4:45 drought without a basket. Lee is down low for Kentucky. Here's Randall, and he lays it in for the first time tonight.
But again, another good decision by Harrison to get Randall on the move to allow that explosive ability to take hold. We haven't talked about it much, but remember, Kentucky, they have a huge foul advantage in this game. Already 7 fouls committed against UConn. They've only committed 3. They lead the country in free throw attempts. That's another way they're able to kind of work themselves back into games, and they've shown that over the course of this tournament.
10 to shoot. Freshman drives in, lost it. It was Andrew Harrison who forced the steal and is picked off the floor by Lee. Kentucky can get the last shot. Let's see how poised the freshmen are with this use of the clock right here. Andrew taken off with 6. Driving up high off the glass for Randall. Randall able to pluck it and bring it down and put it up and get fouled, and a chance at the three-point play.
And again, we talked about the adjustment Kentucky would have to make, and sometimes you got to become a playmaker. It wasn't a great pass, but it was the right decision by Andrew Harrison to get the basketball over to Randall.
First thought he was bouncing it off the glass.
He was trying to throw a lob with his left hand. Again, though, and that's the adjustment they've made. That shows a lot of maturity. You know, sometimes you can't just keep going with the same thing, and they've made an adjustment to be more of a playmaker here down the stretch of this first half.
So Randall getting going here a little bit in the last minutes of the first half.
Yeah, based on the help he's gotten from the Harrisons. A little more screen and roll action from Kentucky rather than that one-on-one style we saw against Wisconsin. I think they found they just couldn't get around those 2 guards early in this game.
From midcourt, the shot on its way, and it's too high. Prima, who had just picked up his second foul on the Randall basket. So, for the 5th NCAA tournament game in a row, Kentucky goes to the locker room either trailing or tied. Down 4 after being down 15 at one point. Let's go over to Tracy.
Thanks a lot, Coach. You had a fast start there. Kentucky battled back. They're a second-half team, so what do you need to get back to doing in the second half here?
Well, we're a second-half team, too. So whatever Kentucky is, we're going to go one step further. We got to play together. We had some turnovers. They start getting on the offensive rebounds. We got to stop penetration. They start getting into our yard. We want to protect that. I like our position, and we just got to play at a level 5 and finish this game off.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Jim?
Led by Napier's 15 points. But again, that lead at one time was 15. Coming up, AT&T at the half. EJ, Greg, and all the guys with their first half analysis, plus the winner of the Naismith Award is revealed on AT&T at the half. To the locker rooms with UConn leading at 35-31. And we'll return after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T. Rethink possible.
20 minutes away from somebody cutting down the nets here at AT&T Stadium. It's AT&T at the half. Championship game in college basketball here on CBS. And UConn leads it 35-31 with 6 minutes to go in the half. The Wildcats of Kentucky were down 15, their largest deficit of the tournament so far, but it's a 4-point game at the break. This is Clark Kellogg, that's Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley on the far end. You'll hear from them in just a second as we jump into the highlights of the first half. And for the, you talk about dignitaries who are out here at Jerry's place, and you saw Bill Clinton, also saw George Bush here, and you saw the Blue Bloods in this game between UConn and Kentucky.
Well, off to a nice start. Strong move here by DeAndre Daniels. Nice throwdown as he went baseline. And the folks at Campbell Pavilion loved all of that one. Kentucky doing what Kentucky does. Actually, now that was... What kind of party? A block party. Okay, he was invited.
And UConn in transition, and he gets the roll on the other side. And UConn jumping out. It's 15-8 at this point. And then watch this move by Ryan Boatwright. The boat show off the glass. And it's 17-8.
Unbelievable poise,
by UConn early, but Kentucky stayed in it. Again, unbelievable poise by Kentucky. And this is the reason why both of these teams are here. They have been able to both take haymakers and still get up.
But give John Calipari credit. It switched when he went to the zone. It changed the entire complexion of the first half, excuse me. That was the difference in the game. That's when that lead went down when they went to the zone. So give Cal some credit for Kentucky going to that zone. That was the difference.
Goaltending right there. And after the score was 30-15, they hit a 3, and then they get the steal by Aaron Harrison, and they're loving that in Lexington.
They can't afford shirts down there.
It's summertime, man. It's summertime in Lexington.
It's not summertime.
Cash rules everything.
How about Shabazz there?
Yeah, he's got in the gym range, 15 points for Napier. And I would mention that coinciding with Kentucky making timely threes and going to the zone, that DeAndre Daniels picked up his second foul at about the 5:40 mark and had to sit the rest of that first half.
Yeah, that's going to be the difference. Can you play that zone when you have all three of your three scorers in the game if you're Kentucky? Because we've seen that they have a difficult time guarding a man-to-man.
Randall didn't score until late in the first half. The Harrison brothers didn't score in the first 10 minutes of the game. No field goals for them, but then they pick it up, and suddenly a 35-31 game at halftime. So what do you reckon being said in the locker room? Number one, we'll get to you in 1 second, Kenny. What do you think they're saying in the locker rooms right now?
I really think just like the other night when we saw Kentucky play Wisconsin, both teams have to feel pretty good about where they are. Kentucky with its poise and maturity showing in the latter part of that first half to cut a 15-point lead to down to 4. And I think UConn feels good about the quality of shots they've been able to get throughout the first half.
What caught your eye here, Jeff?
You know, sometimes when you see people play on television and really haven't played against them that much, and you go, are they really that good? Can they really pressure me? Can they really do things? And if you look at the first possession, where freeze it right here, where Kentucky is running their offense, they said Boatwright and Napier are that good. As we let it go, every possession and every touch is well outside the three-point. I think that Kentucky had their advantage throughout this tournament, being able to get to the rim off the dribble. There were steals, there were tough passes off of the defense. So as much as UConn has to solve the zone, Kentucky has to be able to get to the rim and make something happen, and without turning the basketball over, because those guys are that good. And we have to see, Chuck, if with DeAndre Daniels on the other wing, who's a three-point shooter, is that zone still going to be effective?
Well, I think it will be effective. I think the one guy UConn can't guard is Young. I think he's the best player, in my opinion, on Kentucky's team. Obviously, the Twins are terrific. Randall's very good. But Young, to me, is the one guy who's unguardable. I expect him to have a big second half.
He had 10 points in the first half to lead the Wildcats. 4-point game, 35-31. When we come back, we'll send you courtside to Greg Gumbel as AT&T at the half continues.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T. Rethink possible.
And by Grant Hill. What did you take away from that first half?
Well, John Calipari's move to the zone was a stroke of genius, and he had to swallow his pride. That's something that John Calipari probably would not have done 5 or 6 years ago. Grant, Kentucky's a team that played zone on 5% of its possessions this season. John Calipari made his reputation teaching man-to-man defense at 5-star basketball camp. When you're losing to a team that's faster than you, you've got to slow the game down, and his decision to go zone did just that.
It really did. And, you know, I wasn't surprised. I thought UConn would come out and kind of punch Kentucky initially and knock them down. But the freshmen did what they've been doing all year. They regrouped. They gathered themselves. They got some confidence. Reminding me when I was a freshman going against UNLV in 1991, it took me a minute to get used to their length, their athleticism, their pressure. But once you calm down and realize you can have success against them, you can have success. And that's certainly what Kentucky did.
So now, what's going on in the locker room, and what changes do we look for in the second half?
Well, for UConn, they need to figure out this zone. And I thought, they settled for too many jump shots. Napier took 7 jump shots. There was a possession or a stretch where they had 6 straight possessions, all contested three-pointers. A timeout at that 1:45 mark. Napier got into the paint, made a crazy shot, but they got to drive and dribble penetrate against the zone. Drive and kick is always the best strategy when going against a zone.
Well, look, making three-point shots obviously helps, which is something that Kentucky has done very well during during the tournament. They've shot 40% during the tournament, only 33% during the season. And ironically, it was Andrew Harrison, not his brother Aaron. Andrew came in shooting 3 for 13 from three-point range in the tournament. He was 2 for 2. But look, John Calipari right now is pointing at number 30 in his halftime locker room. We have a thoroughbred on our team. Kentucky cannot win a national championship with Julius Randle only taking 3 shots in the second half like he did in the first half. They've got to ride Julius Randle to the finish line. I don't know if he's hurt, if he's got cramps. The matchups are an issue. Obviously, UConn is double teaming him, but he's the toughest and biggest player in this game. They have to ride Julius Randle to the finish line.
35-31 UConn at halftime. 20 minutes to determine a champion. 20 minutes to crown a champion. We're back with the second half after this.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Just a moment ago, Tracy spoke with Coach Calipari.
Coach, Julius Randle does not look like himself. Just 3 shots, 2 rebounds. What's giving him so much trouble out there?
He's 18. He and Andrew, they're young. They're nervous. They got away from what we were trying to do. See, when you have that anxiety, it's hard to be aggressive. And so I just told him, we're going to win this thing. We're down 2 buckets. If you'll play with energy and lose yourself in the game. I'm happy where we are. I mean, we should have been down 20. So we got a chance to win this.
Thanks a lot.
And again, this is what we've seen over and over again. They keep rallying late in the first half, and eventually the last 4 minutes, they've owned it in this tournament. Things changed when DeAndre Daniels went out for Connecticut.
And that's a great point. Both he and Boatwright got into foul trouble, and there was an issue for UConn. 8 fouls committed, only 3 for Kentucky. Changes how they play the game, and I think that also helped Kentucky get back in it.
Yeah, and I thought Young's 2 3-pointers there during that stretch were just huge because Kentucky couldn't find anything offensively. Little penetration, kick out, he makes 2 threes. Now they feel good about themselves. And then, of course, Randle with those 2 late hoops. So I think Kentucky now has some footing.
There's the numbers from the first half. Young hit a couple of threes, as you pointed out, and so too did Andrew Harrison, who made both of his attempts from behind the line. So Kentucky to inbound. We've got 20 minutes to go to decide the national champion. Randle feeds it outside, and that is the shot. Once again, we've seen in the late going over and over by Aaron Harrison, his first 3 of the night.
Big shot, and also a really good decision by Randle to make a play for his teammate.
DeAndre Daniels, that's way short. Short trip it is, too. Young.
John Calipari wanted a foul there. He thought Young was bumped. UConn, I didn't think, got a great whistle in the first half. They had a couple of touch fouls that really hurt them, particularly Daniels sitting down, Boatwright as well. So we'll see if Boatwright and Daniels can get back into the flow after sitting for quite a bit there late in the half.
And meantime, only 3 fouls called on Kentucky in that half, none of them by a starter. Here's Boatwright, and able to free himself. That separation leads to the basket.
Yeah, and you can see his mother there enjoying it. And I think it's a little easier for Boatwright to work himself back into the rhythm because he can do it with his defense. Daniels is going to be more of an issue for UConn. Can he get into the flow offensively?
Here's Randle. He has to go back out with his Young now. And underneath it's going to be on Takari Johnson. How about the way at the other end, Boatwright was able to free himself.
Yeah, just again, the ability to create that space, that step back there, and then to go up in rhythm. That's going to be a challenge all night for Kentucky when Randle and Young have to defend one-on-one on the perimeter against Boatwright and Napier.
And that's the first foul on a Kentucky starter in this game. The one on Johnson. Napier gives it up, and another clean block, they say, by Kentucky, and it's going to stay with UConn. Nolan's had a couple of them stuffed.
Kentucky changing its defense, chasing over the top, and Napier gets the ball right where it needs to be, but there's that length again on the backside.
And we said it earlier, it's, sometimes you just cannot out-execute the elite level athleticism that Kentucky possesses down low.
They take Nolan out. And they bring in Amita Brima.
And that's specifically to finish that play. If Kentucky is going to go away from switching and try to hedge and get over, Napier's going to get in the lane. Brima is going to be more capable of finishing on the receiving end of those passes.
And they're going to review the shot clock here.
So here's what we're talking about. Instead of switching now, it's kind of a chase. Randall backs off, so Napier's going to get right there. The officials are looking whether to see whether the ball hit the rim or not, which I believe it did.
It did.
Yeah, so 35 is correct.
So UConn to inbound underneath with the full 35. And the last time they inbounded from this point in the first half, Napier beat him with a shifty move to the inside. This time he's unable to take it inside. And that's going to stay with the Huskies. Seemed to be a debate about that one, though. Kevin Ollie, first NCAA tournament, and he's 5-0. Was this the right call?
From that angle, I couldn't tell if it deflected off of Napier or not.
Looks like the shot clock was a little slow to start on the inbounds throw by Defy, and once it touched the Husky player, it took a couple of seconds to get it started. Boatwright down low, and another block, this time by Dakari Johnson. Brima and Nolan having fits, trying to just finish from right underneath.
Yeah, and it's a great play by Dakari Johnson coming over, but Brima had to make a play with the basketball in that possession as opposed to catching it above the rim.
Now they're giving the ball back to UConn. The Husky players retreated thinking that it was Kentucky ball. And now the Kentucky fans letting the officials have it.
And bounds to Boatwright. Got a three on the way. Two Wildcats underneath.
The UConn bigs aren't going to finish underneath. And Napier and Boatwright are going to have to hit those little mid-range shots against this pick-and-roll defense.
And Daniels has to get more involved offensively as well.
Yeah, we've been talking about Randall. They've got to get on the UConn side. Definitely Daniels. And Johnson to the line as he's hacked by Brima. Daniels has only 4 points after a 27-point outing against Iowa State, 20 points against Florida. And by the way, that's number 3 on Brima. Dakari Johnson again, about 44% on the line. Coke Zero wants to know, are you a real fan? Hashtag prove it. Visit the Coke Zero social arena in March Madness Live.
And that's part of the dilemma for Kevin Ollie. We'd love to have Brima on the floor, but at this stage of his career, he's so foul prone that he's not going to be able to play those extended minutes. And so Nolan's going to have to come up, I think, and make some plays here.
Another sloppy mistake by the Huskies, who about 5 minutes ago in the first half, things started to go that way for them. Harrison with the left hand. And UConn able to shield off the Wildcats.
Say they've done a great job on the glass. Actually have a 21-18 edge. And for the most part, other than that last couple minutes of the first half, they've kept Kentucky off the offensive boards.
You see that? Napier almost knocked Boatwright backwards.
He's a little upset about that last turnover.
Well, I think also he didn't run the right set, Boatwright, that they had called in terms of that possession.
Here's Daniels. And he is not putting up the same kind of game we saw in the semifinal. He's 2 out of 7 from the field. UConn's made only one of 6 in this half. Kentucky's a 3-point shot away from tying this. Young got stuck. And out of there with it, the Huskies. No foul call. Boatwright to Daniels, struggled to get a clean handle. Napier soars to save it. Into the lane and a dish. Daniels also saves it. Wide open, passed up, Napier. Swings it to Boatwright, and look at this ball handling by UConn.
I would have liked to see Napier take that shot. I mean, you're not going to get a more wide open look against this Kentucky defense.
Here's Defy. Daniels trying to keep it for him, but Randall has it. Now Kentucky drives in, and Andrew Harrison cuts it to 1.
And you can just see the difference in the energy level right now. Kentucky far more aggressive. They've got UConn on their heels.
And you can hear it too, Greg. There's a foul on Harrison, but the crowd predominantly blue-clad, Kentucky blue, as they climb back into this game with their defense and their transition game. There's Harrison getting all the way to the rim, and the lead down to 1.
Welcome back, and Kentucky has rattled this UConn team. Take a look here. Ryan Boatwright not running the right set, and the senior, Shabazz Napier, telling him, hey, listen, let's get back into executing here, because in essence, they're playing into Kentucky's hands. And you know what? That's another reason why he didn't pull that trigger on that 3, I believe, is because he understands the importance of them continuing to run their offense and to execute, because to start this half, Kentucky's come out with energy and fire and confidence, and that's why right now they're on the verge of being able to take the lead.
Kentucky's put them on their heels, and UConn's put themselves on their heels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think some of these mistakes have been really self-inflicted by the Huskies.
So 2 shots coming for Napier. Mom Carmen, she doesn't miss these games ever. She's the reason he came back to get his degree in sociology this summer. NCIS Los Angeles, all new starting tomorrow, 8/7 Central, on America's #1 network. So Napier looking for a 17th point.
And you know, the other thing that's happened is Andrew and Aaron Harrison have made the adjustment to the quickness of UConn. They've been much better since about the 10-minute mark of that first half at picking their spots, at getting into the teeth of the defense, and also creating not only for themselves but their teammates.
Now a little different look by UConn, dropping back into that 2-3 zone.
The Harrison twins, they're Houston area kids. This is Poitras spinning, and it's going against Kentucky.
I'm not sure about that one. I don't know if Nolan had position there. He was a little late arriving, and he kind of leans in, and more than anything, it's just a flop. That's a play on. Poitras got right to the rim. Not a whole lot of contact.
Not a lot. The spin negates some of the contact, and he sold it to the official. I thought he was there, but I just didn't know if there was enough contact.
Third foul on Poitras, and it takes away the basket. It looked like, to me, it should have been a no call. Now Napier weaving through that Wildcat defense with 5 to shoot. Behind the back to Daniels. Takes it to the paint, puts it up. And he can't find it right now.
Yeah, good job with the help defense, though, by Dakari Johnson, coming over, establishing position, and forcing Daniels to have to go over him.
Andrew to Aaron. Aaron right here. Poitras, a 3. Would have tied it. Dipped down and out.
Not really a three-point shooter. UConn will live with that one. Poitras only made 8 threes all season.
Down low. And a turnover.
Yeah, a little too much English. And Napier probably more frustrated with himself there.
They're getting out of character. I mean, he tried to throw the ball through the legs. You know, this is not the time for that kind of play. Napier, too experienced, too good, but they're getting a little frustrated because of their lack of ability to penetrate this defense.
Marcus Lee in for the Wildcats. He has really blossomed in this tournament, particularly back in Indianapolis. Huge game he had against Michigan with 4 dunks and 10 points. Over to Randall. Randall stopped. And this time is fouled.
That might be Daniels, Jim.
Daniels comes over the back.
It's going to be called on Nolan. His second.
That's big. They were both in the play, and Daniels immediately looked up at the officials pleading, please don't give it to me.
2 shots coming for Julius Randall, taught the game of basketball by his mother Carolyn, who played not even 10 minutes from here at the University of Texas at Arlington. There she is. She wore number 30. So he wears her number to honor her, and she named him Julius after Irving.
Now that's 5 straight missed free throws for Kentucky. Remember, this is one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country in UConn, and one that's not so good in Kentucky. 6 for 13 overall for the Wildcats, and UConn has not missed, although they've only been there 6 times.
Poitras in for Randall.
And the one thing, though, if you're UConn, as poorly as you played, you're only -2.5. So you've done a decent enough job defensively to see if you can get the rhythm back into your offensive game.
They've got to get their guards back to their dominant selves, but UConn has not been able to get the penetration from Napier and Boatwright.
To Nolan, and again, Nolan underneath. Just not strong enough with the hands to finish. Boatwright sees that one coming, and he falls right on Harrison.
And that's probably the first aggressive defensive play we've seen from UConn's backcourt in quite some time.
Yeah.
And the 10th turnover for Kentucky. We talked about it, only 4 all game against Wisconsin, but a much different look.
And it's an easy call if the Kentucky fans are upset, but you cannot take a charge once a guy is already in the air.
Well,
plus, it was
it's a layup.
They
were lucky.
It was a good call.
Was made. Yeah.
There's Boatwright. He lost it. Able to get it back. Huskies have not made a field goal in over 6 minutes, missing their last 7 shots. Napier lobs it down low. Daniels, he'll finish. No, taps it once and gets it to go.
Boy, that's a big basket for Daniels. Just to see something go through, to see if that gets him some confidence, because I think that's really more critical right now, that he get going offensively for UConn.
This is going to go against UConn, and it's Nolan for the 3rd time.
This is when you know you're struggling. Point blank and misses it. Now he gets the break. Maybe this will get him going. I think it's critical right now. This is Napier's game. Kentucky has changed its pick and roll coverage. They're fighting over the top. Napier can attack this Kentucky defense. Now's the time. His team needs him to do it. He's got to be ultra aggressive and look to score right now.
I agree with you, but I think for me, UConn's defense has to get back going.
Yeah.
See, the game has gotten so slow that it's allowed Kentucky's size to have more impact. That's why we're seeing a lot of these contested shots and block shots, because there's nothing in terms of flow. It's really standstill offensively for UConn, and in part it's because defensively they haven't created any energy or any transition opportunity.
Napier goes to the bench, give him a few extra seconds on a breather, because soon we'll have the under 12 timeout. Boatwright to Tipoff, and there's a 3-point shot by the senior from Berlin.
Coach Calipari can't believe it. He's yelling at Young. Kentucky went 2-3 zone for a different look. Tipoff is a corner 3-point shooter. Young too late.
Look at Boatwright. Boatwright with Harrison there. And Harrison is going to be called on the hammer, his 2nd. So 3 throws coming out of this break for Boatwright. It was 4 at halftime. UConn +1.5. 39, Jim Nance, Steve Kerr, Greg Anthony, Tracy Wolfson. How about that last possession by the Huskies that led to a
Take a look right there at Tipoff, and you saw Calipari talking about James Young. You see how he doesn't recognize the personnel. That's what Tipoff is out there for, is to space it and shoot the 3 if you overcommit. And those are the kinds of plays in a 1-2 possession game that could be the difference. That's why Calipari was so animated with him and losing focus on a huge possession when Napier wasn't even on the floor.
And they keep Napier on the bench. Get a little bit more time for him to recover. He's gone almost the entire way.
This is more than likely his last rest.
Exactly.
So I think Kevin Ollie would like to get him maybe another minute or so, but no sense waiting around and messing around in this game. Napier's not a guy who's going to get overly fatigued.
Remember, Kentucky had cut it to 1, and now it's back up to 7.
Greg, you said this during the break. Kentucky may have blown an opportunity here. UConn was 3 for 13 to start this half, and yet the Wildcats have lost ground.
They haven't hit a shot in the last 4 minutes at this end. Randall doubled up. That's into the first row. Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, guys, during that last timeout, Napier jumped into the Connecticut huddle and he said, come on, guys, we need to control the post. But it's not about how good we play defensively or offensively, but it's how we want to win this game, how bad you want it. That's all he wanted to get across, guys.
Well, they had valuable possessions when they had him on the bench. And here he takes the shot, coming back in and upping the lead to 9.
He is one of the best you'll see in college basketball at just having a feel for the game and playing with the right amount of pace for every possession. Never overextends and really takes himself out of the game.
Young able to get in and slam it home and to the line.
And I believe that's going to be 4 on Brima.
It is.
This is spectacular.
It is spectacular. And how about this? As Brima gets a piece of it, but he's still able to power through here. Watch there. He gets a piece of it, able to still power through. That possession, too. Really, that's Terrence Samuel, though. You can't allow blow-bys in situations like that because that's how the bigs tend to pick up fouls.
And once again, Young getting to his left hand. You've got to try to force him right if you can.
And that's a huge basket. The thing about a play like that, it's a momentum play, too. Let's see if the energy level rises for these young Wildcats.
Yeah, the 5 freshman starters are back on the floor.
And back to the zone for Kentucky. Giffey on the bench. Remember, he just hit the 3, so a little less shooting now for the Huskies against this zone.
Napier lost it.
Wow, that's, you know what? It's funny, the official wasn't going to make the call until Napier started to plead with him that it was a kick ball.
And it sure was.
You know what? Initially, I was saying that because it has to be intentional. You can dribble, and I thought he did reach out to kick the basketball.
That was like
there.
a hockey goal and making a kick save. That was a great call.
Giffey is back out to give him that shooting presence against that zone. Giffey, of course, having just hit a 3 a couple of trips ago.
Yeah, James Young better be a little more aware of his position in the corner of that zone.
Daniels steps up, back of the rim. Young again goes to his left and will go to the line.
Young was the one who stemmed the tide for Kentucky in the first half with those 2 threes. And now he's doing it again. The 3-point play with the dunk and a couple of free throws, and the momentum right back the Wildcats' way.
And a 3rd foul on DeAndre Daniels, who misses at one end, commits the foul at the other. Thursday night football coming this fall to CBS and NFL Network. We're excited about it. Coming this September on Thursday nights. And there is Tony Romo with Jason Witten. And Tony and his wife Candace is there on the right of the screen. They just had their 2nd child, a little boy named Rivers, born on March 18th.
Name him after Phillip Rivers? What's the big admirer of the Chargers?
Another boy Hawk, and now they've got Rivers.
Let's see now, Kentucky in that zone. Daniels not in the game, so they don't have that guy in the middle of the zone that can make plays other than Giffey.
Giffey got Randall to commit. And off the back of that one, too, off the back of the rim. Couple of empty trips for the Huskies. And Harrison dishes to Dakari Johnson for the easy 2. And now, again, a momentum shift. And live from Lexington, a 6-0 run that's really been fueled. The spark came by Young.
Exactly what Charles Barkley talked about in the halftime show.
Oh, Boatwright looks like he's hurt. Calling a timeout. He is hurt.
I didn't see it. Did he roll his ankle here on the catch?
Yeah, yeah. Wow, with exactly 9 minutes to go in the half. And one of the biggest players on this Husky roster has to call timeout. 3-point game here. in Texas. Young leading Kentucky. Napier 19 for UConn. And how about this? Boatwright, after the timeout, stays on the floor.
Well, it is a national championship game, right? I mean, you got to fight through whatever it is.
You can ice it tomorrow.
They have 10 to shoot here. Napier. And it's Randall. Only Randall underneath. Here comes Kentucky now.
And let's see if Boatwright can continue to defend the dribble drive with that ankle.
Giffey trying to guard Randall. If Randall can get ahead of steam, he can go right through Giffey. That's a tough matchup.
This would tie it. Boatwright could have made a play on that rebound, but didn't have it.
Well, he also didn't fight over the screen.
Here's the lob to Young. And Young again is going to go back to shoot two. When Boatwright came onto the floor out of the break, he was walking on his heels.
Like trying to stretch it out.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, you made the point, Jim, he didn't fight over that pick and roll, which is the first time that's happened in the game. And then he wasn't able to get to that loose basketball, which he had been doing earlier in the game.
Fourth foul on Nolan and the sixth team foul on the Huskies. And let's go to Tracy.
You mentioned that Boatwright was trying to stretch it out. Well, during that last huddle, he had the athletic trainer over there. His hand was on that left foot, just trying to stretch it the whole time. Kevin Ollie didn't talk to him at all during the huddle, but then once he went out onto the floor, he walked over and asked him if he's okay, and he just said, I'm going to tough it out, guys.
That's smart. You wait until he's already on the floor to ask him if he's okay, because then it's too late for him to go back to the bench.
Well, plus you don't want to distract the rest of your team while you're in the midst of that timeout, keeping the focus on the game.
That's the third time Kentucky in this half has trimmed the margin to one.
UConn has to free up Napier. They've got to set better screens and get him maybe even off the ball before he receives the ball to make another play.
Here's Napier. That ball seemed to come out as he was on the way up, but they say it last touch Kentucky. It'll be Husky basketball coming back from the under-8. And the young Cats control things down the stretch as they have every tournament game. Huskies to inbound. Having missed their last 5 shots in over 3 minutes without a hoop. Kentucky has never led in this game, but they brought it back to 1 on 3 occasions after trailing by as many as 15 in the first half. It's Napier in traffic, in trouble, and bounces it out right to Aaron Harrison.
That was just great defense by Kentucky. Did a good job of holding containment, but also being disciplined to not overextend their help.
Wildcats can take the lead for the first time. Who else? Aaron Harrison not this time. On the floor. That's Poitras taking it down with him. They say jump ball, UConn.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Looked like Poitras got fouled there. Let's take a look.
He's got ball there.
You know what?
He is, you know, I know there's contact, but he's also got his hand on the ball. In essence, neither guy has possession in that respect.
That was Chroma.
That's a big play, too, for UConn.
Switches the arrow at the 7-minute mark to Kentucky, but UConn able to dodge that one attempt for the lead for the first time in the game for Kentucky.
Boy, Kentucky's defense has been dramatically better since that opening barrage.
Napier, wow, right over Aaron Harrison. Napier now with 22, and a Gamble Pavilion right on campus where many a banner flies. They go crazy over that shot. Here's Randall getting in.
Wow. Oh, my goodness, what a move there.
One of his best moves in the whole tournament.
A great play there.
They've run that play throughout the tournament. Kevin Ollie pleading with his team. I guarantee you they went over that play during shoot-around and practice yesterday, but UConn did not recognize the action.
Here's Giffey, top of the key, and they hit back-to-back threes. For First it was Napier, then it was Giffey. 2 of the 3 holdovers from the 2011 National Championship team.
And Ollie goes zone. He's worried about this Randall-Giffey matchup. And it looks like they're going to go with a little 2-3 zone or a matchup zone.
And they've gone small, UConn, so also they're going to have to really be connected on that defensive backboard if they can force a miss.
Here's Young stepping up for the 2. And that one sails past the rim. And this is going back to Connecticut.
But you talked about that play there, just a rub screen, and it's tough because the guards aren't really the ones used to having to provide the help on what's in essence a pick and roll, and then a nice delivery, and Giffey in rhythm there, not hesitating, knocking down that triple.
And now Kentucky goes back to the zone. Both teams really changing their defenses throughout this second half, trying to corral the other one.
And also, as we start to get down the stretch, both these teams have been terrific down the stretch of games.
3-point shot for 3 in a row. That time it was Daniels. And the outside game for him tonight is just not there. He's 3 for 12 from the field. Now Randall challenging Daniels. Goes baseline on him. And this will probably be, it is on Giffey, not Daniels.
He's just so strong. And, you know, you back off him because you want to force him to shoot, but when you give him space, now he gets that head of steam. And it's tough to take a charge on Randall because he's so shifty as he attacks the hoop. And as you mentioned, Greg, this small lineup for UConn, they're going to have a very difficult time keeping him away from the hoop.
And this is also the irony of it. This is a small lineup for Kentucky. It's just there, so as you can see, Julius Randle's parents, it's just that they have, with that size, great quickness when you look at Randall and Poitras, so they can go play the 4 and the 5 and still be able to not be liabilities necessarily in the half court.
They're hurting themselves big time at the line. And that's going back to Kentucky. Out of bounds, Napier.
Boatwright and Napier each went after it, and they were thinking the same thing. I'm going to grab this and throw it to the same guy.
Yeah, they wanted to throw it to each
out
other.
Of bounds. Yep.
That's stolen by Napier.
I'm surprised, Greg, that he didn't push.
And Andrew Harrison says, I'll take it right back, thank you. They got the numbers.
That was a surprising development. Napier, I don't know if he's tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but a heads-up play.
He's making mistakes you never see from him.
You're exactly right.
Well, listen, he's won a national championship, but he wasn't the guy on that team. He's got a different responsibility. This is a huge moment in his career. And he's going against a team in Kentucky that is battle-tested. They've been here, in essence, the entire tournament.
And they missed the front end of a 1-and-1 Aaron Harrison. 13 out of 23, Kentucky from the line. And that's really the difference.
It is. Kentucky staying with this versatile defensive lineup. Dakari Johnson on the bench because of the pick and roll coverage. Scott Calipari feels very comfortable with Poitras and Randall down there.
Broma was in the jam, was able to get it out to Giffey, and now Boatwright looks up and realizes 5 to shoot. Over Randall. Oh, wow. Goodness. Forget about that ankle.
And this is one thing, I remember talking with Billy Donovan before their matchup with UConn. He said they're one of the best teams in the country last 10 seconds of the shot clock because of that ability of Napier and Boatwright to make plays.
Randall taking it in. And a foul on UConn. Poitras in a number of tournament games has come up with a block or a slam in the last minutes that have created sparks. Here's another one. He'll be shooting a free throw out of the break. And let's take a look at the Capital One Cup. Impact performance.
Been UConn's Shabazz Napier, and he's done it when his team has needed it time and time again offensively, but he's also leading them in rebounds with 6 in this game, which we talked about how important it was, and you saw an example there by that offensive rebound by Poitras.
And, you know, one of the things we often see in a tournament game, particularly a championship game, teams tend to try to protect the lead, but 4 minutes is a long time. I think both clubs need to look to really maintain their aggressiveness and look to score.
I think that sprained left knee from the victory pile just fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
But failing to hit the free throw for the three-point play.
We're wondering with UConn, how long do they stay with this small lineup? I think you stay with it until Kentucky proves they can defend it. Because even though Kentucky's scoring, you've also scored consistently.
Napier. That would have been a big one. And it's Poitras. Jumps out to get that rebound.
I like the shot, though.
Young. And Defy. Coming out of the pack, it's both right.
And that's an example right there, what you talked about, Steve. That's an opportunity to go early transition. Doesn't mean you got to shoot it, but you could at least see if Kentucky's able to get back.
Yeah, put some pressure on the defense. And how about that play from Defy? Staying in front without fouling and then getting the rebound.
Lob it underneath to Daniels. Two Wildcats commit. Daniels waited and was rewarded.
We saw that same play against the zone, mind you, against Florida, where they were able to go over the top. There's a bit of a fatigue issue really on both sides, and you can lose sight of your responsibilities defensively.
Huskies trying to bring another championship banner back to Gamble for the fourth time in 15 years since '99. And another empty trip here for the Wildcats with 2:20 to play. As Boatwright flips it back to Napier.
Randall had a point-blank shot. Defy again staying in front, just causing enough of a movement for Randall to miss that shot.
And then UConn able to get that defensive rebound, which is also equally as important.
Yeah, they've won the battle of the boards to this point. 32-31. Who would have guessed that?
Inside 2 minutes for the national title. Defy. That would have made it 8. And look at that offensive rebound all the way back out to Napier.
Timeout. We talked about what would win out. Would it be the size of Kentucky or the quickness of UConn?
You almost got to the Final Four as a player. Got knocked out in the Elite Eight your last year in '95. And there he is, Kevin Ollie. And one thing about this, there's his son, by the way, who's going to be a big-time quarterback.
You look at that foul situation. That's big. Kentucky with only 5 fouls, so 1 to give, and then a 1-and-1 after that. But don't forget, UConn has finished off every game with unbelievable foul shooting in this tournament.
So, now with 1:40 and in no hurry, with a 6-point lead. Working it down. This great free throw shooting team goes outside. Wide open a wing. He hasn't hit one from here tonight. And that's tapped out going to Kentucky. Daniels. You know, they usually need Daniels to have that big game. They're not getting it from him tonight. And they're still up 6.
The 2 fouls early kind of took him out of rhythm, and he hasn't made a 3. 0 of 4. That might have sealed it right there.
It might have, but also UConn defensively, though, has done the job. Kentucky offensively has been spectacular this entire tournament.
Young able to slide in there for the 2. As we approach a minute.
You still don't have to foul if you're UConn or Kentucky. You just need to play solid defense and secure possession here.
Remember, a foul won't put him on the line. That's going to be the 16th foul right there.
I don't like that foul.
I don't either, because now they're in the penalty.
Well, one more, but John Calipari calls timeout. This is what he wants to discuss, the foul situation and the clock. Remember, these are all freshmen, except for Poitras, a very young club.
Time to square off here, guys. Greg, you're first with Kentucky.
Yeah, listen, we both understand why he calls a timeout there, but you've done 2 things. One, now you put UConn in the penalty. 2, you've reset the shot clock. And now that gives them the opportunity to run this all the way down. Remember, this is a 2-possession game, not a 1-possession, so this is going to be really important right now.
And you got to foul the right guy. Assuming UConn gets the ball in, which they do, if you foul Napier, it's going to be danger time. It looks like Kentucky is going to play this out.
Aaron Harrison looks over to his coach and able to knock it loose. Little helter-skelter for a moment. 15 to shoot. 30 left in the game. Underneath, wide open, and falling right on top of Troma.
Just a horrendous defensive possession for Kentucky. If you're not going to foul, then don't foul. And don't leave the guy wide open underneath. It was like a late double team that really wasn't necessary. It looked like Young just left his man.
And Steve, I really felt once he made the foul to call the timeout, you almost have to foul at that point, because remember, this is also a great free throw shooting team.
He's now 7 of 7 in the tournament.
I mean, again, it's a young team. That's one of the disadvantages to the inexperience, because you got to make sure they know what you want to do. But boy, that's a critical decision by Calipari that may backfire.
And Poitras with his 4th foul. UConn 10 for 10 at the line.
No threes. If you're UConn, play the three-point line. Make this into a 3-possession game, not a 2-possession.
Saved by Harrison. Takes the shot. Ball back out to Andrew for the 3. And that one's off. Tapped into the hands of Boatwright with 5 seconds. And this most improbable tournament run comes to an end with a UConn championship. The Huskies once again are in basketball heaven. National championships for that remarkable young man right there, Shabazz Napier. And Kentucky denied the chance to set the mark as the youngest national championship team of all time. I was talking to Kevin Ollie yesterday. He knew that most people thought it was feeling like Kentucky's year, the outsiders. He said, my kids don't blink, you don't understand. We're tenacious, we're resilient, we're tough. That's the UConn way. The way I learned from my Hall of Fame mentor, Jim Calhoun. We're fighters. And that comes from the coach, Kevin Ollie, who carries the initials KO.
That's a great call. And also, a team will always take confidence when you feel like you have the best player on the floor. And Shabazz Napier was that tonight.
First number 7 seed to ever win the national championship. Then almost lost in the very first game. Had to go to overtime to beat St. Joe's. What an unbelievable tournament it's been from the very start. A second ring for Napier, as well as Gaffey and Olander, who are on that 11 team. Kevin Ollie, you are 6-0 as a head coach in NCAA tournament play. You brought your alma mater to the promised land. The UConn Huskies are the 2014 national champions.
Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut. And why not be happy? The new champions of college basketball on the men's side are the UConn Huskies. A shining moment. The champion UConn Huskies. Up next, the presentation of the 2014 National Championship Trophy. We'll be back with that and more as we continue live from North Texas on CBS. Texas, where the UConn Huskies are the kings of the basketball world. Let's take you now down to the court for the trophy presentation to the new national champions. Jim Nance is with the UConn Huskies. Jim.
All right, thank you, Greg Gumbel. And ladies and gentlemen, the UConn Huskies, the national champions. I'm here with the president of the NCAA, Dr. Mark Emmert, and the chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, Ron Wellman, for the presentation of the national championship trophy to the Huskies and head coach Kevin Ollie.
Well, thank you, Jim. And first of all, congratulations to both the Kentucky Wildcats and UConn Huskies for the great tournament run that they had this year. Now, on behalf of the NCAA and the Division I Men's Basketball Tournament Committee, congratulations to Coach Kevin Ollie and the UConn Huskies as Mark Emmert presents the national championship trophy.
Wow. How do you put this one into words, Kevin? Coming out when, you know, you're a team that's a 7 seed, you lose a game by 33 in March, you know, right before the tournament, and you gel and go all the way to the title.
Right. I said in the beginning, 18 months ago when we started this process, that the last is going to be the first. And now we was last, and now we first. But we always did it together. And they was one as a group, and it was great. Watch out, man.
And then there's what you like to talk about, this UConn family and the UConn way of doing things. With all your entire basketball operations and staff, all UConn people.
My coaching staff, my players, all of us UConn, our family, all our alumni is here, and that's what it's all about. Coach Calhoun, the greatest coach ever, he paved the way, and we just walked through it. So I want to thank Coach, too.
Let me see if I can find Shabazz.
Where that trophy at, man?
Ryan, you want that trophy, but I thought with 9 minutes to go, we might not see you again. How did you manage to keep playing on?
Man, I got a lot of heart, man. I know my teammates is giving it they all, and we put in too much work all year for me to give up on the ankle sprain. This moment was too big.
Thank you, Ryan. Shabazz, bookend national championships. The dream comes true. You talked about you wanted this spot, your last game, to be the last game of the season with everything on the line. How do you describe this one?
Honestly, hey, I want to get everybody's attention right quick. If I can have your attention, if I don't have your attention, let me get your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the Hungry Huskies. This is what happens when you ban us. Last year, 2 years, we worked so hard for it. 2 years and hungry.
Shabazz, you've just been named the most outstanding player of the Final Four. Congratulations to the UConn Huskies. For the 4th time in 15 years, the trophy is heading back to Storrs, Connecticut, the national champions.
Welcome back, everyone, and this is where it happened. What a tremendous Final Four, what a tremendous championship game here at AT&T Stadium, and the Huskies fans, the happiest of them all as we continue from North Texas. We'll remind you our tribute to the NCAA tournament, one shining moment still to come. What a run through the tournament the Kentucky Wildcats made. Our Tracy Wolfson just a few moments ago with head coach John Calipari.
Coach, what a run. But what can you say about this team, how they've grown up over these last few weeks and all the adversity they have overcome this whole year to get this far?
Well, yeah, obviously I'm proud of these guys, and we had our chances to win. That game stayed a one-point game. We're missing shots, we're missing free throws, and we hung in there. These kids never gave up. I needed to do a couple more things for them to help them, to get them over the hump, and we just didn't have enough. We couldn't foul late. I know everybody's, why don't you foul? Because they're not missing. Those two guards never miss. Our best chance was 2-possession game, stop them, make a basket, timeout, you know, try to steal. that was our best chance. And we had our chance. We just, missed the shots and free throws we needed to make.
You have to be proud, though. You said it. They were in it. They could have won this.
Chances. I thought at halftime we were going to win the game. I thought at the start of the half, and then I saw the game kind of go a little wild, and we went zone and dried their sweat a little bit because they were the aggressor, and it got them to back up a little bit and slow down, and it gave us our chance. And that's all I can ask these guys. Put us in that position. As the coach, that's your job to get them over the top. Give them something extra, and we didn't give them enough to get them over the top.
What were your final words to them in the locker room?
Just told them, I'm proud. Don't you hang your head. I said, we had our chances to win. So that's what this is about. I said, we marched through this thing and did good stuff. You keep your head up.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Great run.
Tracy, thank you very much. And the Kentucky Wildcats, who never led in the championship game, fell by 6. As you now take a look at the scene on the court, Werner Ladder proud to donate to the General Scholarship Fund of every school in this year's Final Four. Werner, the official ladder of the NCAA basketball championships. And Grant, I can only guess what it must be like to think about cutting down those nets once the season begins.
It's an amazing feeling, Greg, and for UConn, to go through what they went through this year, all the adversity, certainly turning it on and getting hot at the right moment, and to see the joy and the excitement from the fans, from the players, from Coach Kevin Ollie, to go up there and cut those nets with your teammates really just symbolizes, hey, we are the champions, we're number one, we're the best team. And it is the best feeling in all of sports and all of basketball when you get to that moment.
And the seeds for this moment were planted about 18, 20 months ago when Jim Calhoun decided to retire. Shabazz Napier was personally disappointed in Jim Calhoun for that decision. They were facing a postseason ban. 2 of his teammates transferred. Kevin Ollie had to convince Shabazz Napier to stick with him and stick with the program. And I've talked to Kevin Ollie a lot about this and his feelings for Jim Calhoun. He called Jim Calhoun an unrealistic thinker. You have to be an unrealistic thinker to have believed on March 8th, when UConn lost by 33 points to Louisville, that they could even possibly be on the court cutting down the nets. And it's that belief, it's that unrealistic thinking that Kevin Ollie brought to his NBA career, getting cut by 9 different NBA teams, to holding his team together with that belief. And only they believed that they would be the last one standing tonight. It was an inspiring game. Kentucky played well. They go 13 for 24 from the free throw line. That was the difference in the close game. We have a worthy NCAA champion capping off what was just a great season and a tremendous tournament. My congratulations to both these teams, and especially the UConn.
Talk about a team of destiny. How about the fact that Kevin Ollie brought this team to AT&T Stadium earlier this year to show them where they could end up, where they could compete, where they could win a national championship. We'll be back to wrap it up with one shining moment right after this. World. For the Huskies, their school's 4th national championship, all of them since 1999. Our congratulations to head coach Kevin Ollie and his Huskies. We also applaud Coach John Calipari and his Kentucky Wildcats, who enjoyed an outstanding season and an outstanding tournament. As we get set to say goodnight from Texas, all of us at CBS and Turner Sports, thank you for joining us. For all of us, I'm Greg Gumbel. We culminate our celebration, as always. Here is one shining moment.
Time is short and the road is long. In the blinking of an eye, that moment's gone. And when it's done, when 'cause inside you knew.
The perfect season has come to an end. Stephen F. Austin, first ever tournament win.
Feel the beat of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a...
Goodness! Stauskas. Harrell. Thompson and Wiggins almost jumps out of the building. Oh, what a spin move. For the Final Four, Harrison. No, he made it.
And when it's done, win or lose, you always need your best, 'cause inside you...
Oh, Daniels!
In one shining moment, you reach for the sky.
This is the point where he always hits it. Oh, Aaron Harrison, beyond belief.
In one shining moment.
Hey, one more. For the national championship, deep in the heart of Texas. Swish.
One shining moment.
Back-to-back threes. The Huskies, once again, are in basketball heaven.
Feels great. 4 national championships, and do this championship with these students. These student athletes is amazing. They've been amazing and resilient the whole year, but I keep telling you, it started 18 months ago when they kept believing and they stayed loyal to the program. And you know, it's just a wonderful feeling to hold that trophy up and do it the right way. And I think we did it the right way for 18 months, and we did it the right way in this NCAA tournament.
Let's take questions first for the student athletes. If you have a question, please raise your hand. The first one's to the right of the aisle. Please identify yourself by name and media outlet. Gary.
Gary Parrish, CBSSports.com. Shabazz, you stood on national television and told the country this is what happens when you ban us. I'm curious what message you were trying to send there.
We hungry, and when you stop, you know, when you prevent us from trying to go to the postseason, you know, and it wasn't our fault. We worked since that day on. Coach Ollie told us this is going to be a 2-year plan, and since that day on, we believed. And like I said, man, I just wanted to grab everybody's attention and introduce the Hungry Huskies, because you know it's been 2 years, and you know, and it's quite funny because I was laying down and I was thinking of something to say because I knew we was going to win. I'm being real humble and I'm trying to be cocky. When you believe something so much, you understand what may happen in certain situations. And I told myself if I was on that podium, I was going to say that. And I'm just so happy that I was in that position because, man, these guys work so hard. The coaches, the managers, our trainers, and you know, last but not least, the players. We worked so hard for this, and we didn't want to lose it. And we worked so hard. So, you know, here we go, celebrating.
The next question's on the right side for Roger.
Roger Rubin from the New York Daily News. Question for Shabazz. Over here, pal. So can you describe for us the pain or anguish or what's been sitting with your team for the last 13 months?
You know, we didn't come out here to get any revenge or anything like that. We came out here to play. You know, when you have the greatest fans to back you up, you're going to play for them. And that's what we did out that first year under Coach Ollie. And the second year, we did the same thing, but we understood we had a chance to get to the promised land. And when you have the great fans of University of Connecticut, along with these great coaches, the great trainers, and great managers, these players, man, something good's going to happen. You got to continue to believe. And we have faith in each other. And we're here. We won the whole thing. And we didn't listen to any doubters. We just went out there and did what we had to do.
Questions for the student athletes. We have two to the left of the aisle. Name and media outlet, please.
Max Edison from the Houston Defender. This is for Ryan
and Shabazz, despite a decided height advantage in the backcourt, it seems as though the game plan was to aggressively go right to the rim on the taller Kentucky inside players. Can you speak to that strategy and that aggressive style of play from you two?
Ryan first, then Shabazz.
You know, me and Shabazz got a lot of heart, and we tough. You know, we tough-minded and we tough physically. You know, when you try to drive physically with us, we gonna get physical right back with you. We ain't gonna back down from nobody. And you know, to get to the rim, you got to get past us. So just because you big, you still got to be quick and you got to get low. And we just moved our feet and stayed in front of them.
Shabazz.
Yeah, man, we've been playing against tall people in our entire life. We're both short, so we kind of understand, you know, how to maneuver our bodies in certain ways that can create fouls or get to the basket. And like he just said, you got so much heart. You got so much passion for the game. You're going to give everything you got, even if you mess up. And, you know, there was times where me and him butted heads in the game. You know, I told him I was going to get the rebound. I'm going to throw it to him, and he jumped with me. So, but we went on to the next play. And, you know, we just so passionate about it. And you know, it happens. And, you know, I'm just so happy we won.
On the left side of the center aisle.
Tim Fontenot, Daily Campus for DeAndre. We just talked about the backcourt, but now in the front court. You had 3 fouls late in the game, Amita 4, Phil 4, and they were really trying to attack the rim. How were you guys able to hold them off? Because they kept fighting and fighting, but they never took the lead, even with you guys having all the foul trouble with 10 minutes to go.
I mean, yeah, just like you said, I mean, we had guys in foul trouble, and we had guys come in and step up and do the little things and boxing out and then rebounding. But we just kept fighting, and our guards was tremendous today. They kept us in the game, and these are the 2 best guards in the backcourt in the nation. And throughout the season, guys just kept saying these two right here are not good. They don't play good together. They're not friends, and here they are.
All the way in the front on the right of the aisle, Bonnie.
Bonnie Bernstein, Campus Insiders. It was clear from the get-go that one of the big assets for you guys was your quickness. For all 3 of the players, can you just talk about what you perceived, the way they were reacting and trying to react to your quickness and the benefit that was for your team?
DeAndre first, then Ryan, then Shabazz. DeAndre, you want to skip that?
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan.
We can give all the credit to Coach Ollie and our trainer. What's Coach Ollie's first name? We call him Coach Ollie, Travis. You know, preseason was extremely tough, and we really hated it. Like the running was crazy, and KO pushed us to do it. Coach I didn't let us out of it, and he told us, I remember him specifically saying one day when I did not want to do those sprints, and he was like, Bo, if you do it, at the end of the year when everybody else is tired, y'all going to be good and y'all going to run them out the gym. And it happened. You know, we was running, we was getting up and down the floor, and they was gassed. They was bent over, and we was standing straight up, still strong, ready to go. And, you know, I give all the credit to Coach KO and Coach I.
Shabazz.
Yeah, you know, he nailed it on the head. You know, when you work so hard, you prepare yourself for these moments. And, you know, we continue to push each other and continue to work as hard as we possibly can until we're tired, so that when we get in the games, we're not as winded as our opponent. And today was just up and down, and you know, like Bo said, you know, them guys got a little winded, and we just kind of took advantage of it.
Continuing with questions for the student athletes, all the way on the left side.
Seth Gruen, Chicago Sun-Times. Ryan, first off, what does it mean to be at this point after all you've been through, and also how long do you kind of enjoy this before you address your future?
I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I can. You know, I'm not thinking about my future right now. I'm enjoying the present. And, you know, we're going to celebrate with my team and my family. And, you know, I'm just blessed to be here in this situation. And it's an honor to be a national champion and to play for this university. You know, my future, I worry about that later. But I'm just going to enjoy the moment right now.
To the right side of the center aisle, Dan.
Dan Wolken, USA Today. For Ryan, at the 9-minute mark when you turned your ankle, what did you do during that timeout, and were you worried you may not be able to continue in the game? And also, earlier when you guys were struggling to score during a timeout, you and Shabazz sort of were talking to each other. It looked like a pretty aggressive conversation. Is that normal for you guys to have that sort of back and forth during a game?
Yeah, you know, we just when you're in the moment, you naturally aggressive. You know, we understand that we ain't trying to get at each other, nothing like that. You know, we just listen to each other and just try to understand what each other is saying. And, you know, at the end of the day, we both just want to win. And we probably wasn't even arguing. We was probably just talking loud because it was so loud in there. I mean, yeah, it was just loud in there. Like, a lot of people was getting mixed up when me and him is, we so aggressive naturally. When we just be yelling and having a conversation, they think we fighting. So we wasn't fighting today. My ankle, it was hurting. But, you know, we worked too hard and we put in too much work. And I wasn't going to let a little ankle sprain with 9 minutes to go left in the national championship keep me from being out there to fight with my brothers.
On the right side, Dana.
Dana O'Neill with ESPN.com. Shabazz, was there a moment or a meeting or anything where you guys talked as a team about what you were going to do to kind of get through everything, or was it just sort of understood that you were going to do it?
Go ahead, Shabazz.
I think it was kind of understood. We, you know, from the beginning, you know, Coach Ollie told us, man, we have a chance to be on the top if we worked hard. And, you know, he always told us that, but we always knew that the key word is, the key words were if we work hard. We wanted to be on top. We wanted to feel like we were the champions. And, you know, there were times where we were down and you guys were picking us up. And, you know, I remember telling these guys, you know, after we lost against Louisville at home, our first game, I remember telling these guys, I said, everybody pick your head up. At the end of the day, I said, we going to be the team that's going to be holding up that trophy. I promise you that. And it's so surreal that it actually happened. You know, I told them, we was up the podium, I told everybody, look at me, and I said, what did I tell y'all when we lost against Louisville at home? And everyone was like, man, you said we was going to hold that trophy. And I said, man, I don't lie. I think we the best team in the country. It's not the Shabazz show. No, I don't need to get recognized. They understand that. It's the University of Connecticut Huskies, and we went out there and proved it.
Final question for the student athletes is on the right side in the front. Raphael.
Raphael Johnson, NBC Sports. Questions for Shabazz. With about 5 minutes to go in the first half, with these two guys on the bench with 2 fouls each, they went zone. Was that something you guys kind of prepared for yesterday? And also, even with them on the bench, that seemed like a sign that your quickness was getting to them a little bit?
Yeah, we kind of understand that we have we slow it down a little bit when we playing against zone, and we've been getting a lot better. But with DeAndre out and Boatwright out, it's even tougher because them two guys are superior threats on that zone, especially with DeAndre getting in the middle. And when they put the zone, you know, everybody filled in. You know, I feel like you know, Neil stepped up, Lassonde did, Terrence as well. Phil, you know, Phil could have had 12 points if he didn't get it blocked all the time, but everybody filled in though. It was amazing that you know, when these two great players is on the bench because they have 2 fouls or whatever they had, you know, everybody fills in, and that's what a team is. I've been saying that from the beginning. You know, this team is so well-rounded that if one guy falls down, another guy picks it up, and you know, Coach Ollie has been stressing that since the beginning. You know, when one guy falls down in practice, you know, he wants everybody to go pick them up, and that's just showing that, you know, no matter what's going on, the next guy got to step up.
We'd like to congratulate Shabazz, Ryan, and DeAndre and thank them for joining us here in the main interview room tonight and all week long. Fellas, this way today. Shabazz, Ryan, and DeAndre are headed back to the locker room where they are available with the rest of the UConn student athletes. The locker room is still open. And at this time, we're looking for our first question for Coach Ollie. To the right of the aisle, your name and media outlet.
Steve Futterman with CBS News. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Take a step back if you could. I know it's hard right now. What's going through your heart and mind right now? You have won the top prize in college basketball, the top prize for your profession. You've done it.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable because those guys, my players, stayed with the program. And I'm the first one to deflect all the attention. Those players that was up here, they should get all the attention. Because if it wasn't for them, this program wouldn't be here. And they believed in a vision before anybody seen it. And they stuck with it through the down times, when we was losing, when we was winning, they stayed together, and they always believed it was past possible. You know, and I think that's the beautiful thing about this championship for me. And when I reflect on it, those guys' toughness, but also their togetherness.
On the left side of the aisle in the front.
Kevin, Dan Uthman from USA Today Sports. A lot of great teams are great at free throw shooting. A lot of great teams aren't great at free throw shooting. So how did you guys get so good at free throw shooting?
We just work on it tirelessly in practice. It's competitive every time we do it. You got winners and losers, and of course the losers got to run sprints, and they get real competitive with it. And I think that's what we try to, create that competitiveness in them, especially taking free throws. And it's also getting the right people at the free throw line, getting the right people with the ball at the end of the game so they can get fouled and they can knock down the shots. But our guys are so composed and pressured. They're confident. And we just work. My coaching staff does a great job with our bigs, getting them extra free throws after practice. And, Coach Hobbs and Coach Miller and Coach Freeman and Coach Moore is just, they outstanding. And they always, pride themselves on getting extra work. And then our student athletes just fall in line.
On the left side in the front, Matt.
Matt Norlander, CBSSports.com. You had a couple of tender moments with two of the most important women in your life after that game. Can you just go into a little bit of detail, Kevin, away from the basketball court, how those two have given you strength, and maybe likewise you've returned that, but just over the past couple of years and specifically since November, how powerful that connection's been in your home?
Yeah, spending time with my mother. She just had surgery and she has breast cancer, and I know she's fighting, and she kept fighting through chemo for 4 months. And just to see her make this trip and us win a national championship and just see her smile is real special to me. And, my wife gives me an opportunity to work and do what I do on a day-to-day basis and take care of home and take care of my mother. And, for her strength, she lost her father 4 months ago. So it's been a tough year for us. 2013 was tough, and a lot of people didn't know it, but behind scenes we was just holding each other up. And without my wife, I couldn't be here doing this job. And for her to lose her father, her best, the man, in her life, and to lose it, and then just keep lifting me up, keep providing for our family, then take my mother on. And she driving her to the hospital to appointment after appointment is just a courageous woman. And I'm glad she chose me, and that's my #1 recruit right there.
All the way in the back to the right of the center aisle.
Andrew Unterberger, the scorer. Niels missed a couple shots early in the first half, and then he looked like he got kind of hesitant out there. But then he had those 2 big threes in the second. I was wondering, did you say anything to him at halftime, like, hey, man, keep shooting? Yeah,
we just tell him to keep confident. Believe in yourself. You've been doing it the whole year. I mean, he's been shooting over 50% the whole year from 3. So I know it was just a matter of time that he relaxed his shoulders, hold his follow through, just what he's been doing the whole year. He's been rock solid. Even when he had shooting slumps like he did in a couple games, he got 11 rebounds one game. Still got 11 points another game. So he does so much other things on our team. It's just not the shooting, but he's had a great year. I think it started in the summer when he played for the German national team and got a chance to play against Tony Parker and Boris Diaw and held his own. He came in with a renewed confidence, and I seen it right away in practice.
The next question's on the left of the center aisle. Reed.
Reed Forgrave, Fox Sports 1. From the outside, this felt like one of the more improbable national titles in a while. And I'm curious, from the inside, why don't you guys think this was improbable? Or why didn't you during the season?
Yeah, somebody told me we was Cinderellas, and I was like, no, we UConn. I mean, this is what we do. We born for this. We bred it to cut down nets. And like I told you, we're not chasing championships chasing us. And we got 4 now, and Coach Calhoun started a tradition, and my whole coaching staff is from UConn. We all been through the same things, and we love this university. We put this university first. It's always family first with us, and they kept believing. And I told you, I mean, a lot of people was picking against us and doubting us, but I told you the last would be the first, and we first now. Last year we was last. We couldn't get in the tournament, but they kept believing. And that's what it's all about. You believe. I have a strong faith in God, and God is always going to make a way out of no way, and he made this way, and he gets all the glory.